So the new seasonal anime have come out this like last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's been fucking great.
It's been really great. There's been a lot of great shows, and I'm still trying to play catch up to all of them because I haven't been able to check out all the ones I wanted. Um, some of the ones I've been really excited about recently has been My Happy Marriage. I've been hyping that up for so long.
Yeah, that's not
um,
gonna come up later.
yeah, it's not gonna come up later. Um, Bleach, the new season of Bleach is out, and that first episode was amazing. It
I'm
was
waiting for the dub.
oh, but you'll be pleasantly surprised because the dub's also really good, so
Yeah, yeah.
it'll be really
Bleach
good.
dub's always been great.
Oh, yeah, well, mostly. Um, just I just have 1 or 2 things here and there, but that's, like, old dub way, way long ago, and
Uh-huh.
I'm over it. Um, you're not very hyped for this, but, Mushoku Tensei, I'm at the part remember how we talked about how, what you thought the plot was?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we're there now, and I'm
I
like,
fucking
"Oh,
told you!
okay."
He's
But
going
I'm
to
but it
magic school to fix his pee-pee. I told you.
yeah, I mean, that's kinda where it's leading to, but I'm like, "Damn, he really just wait, what, is this real?" So, I'm here for that journey apparently.
I
And
remember when I first told you that, and you're like, "That's not what it's about." And I'm like, "I haven't watched it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's about."
that's not what the first 25 episodes are about.
What the story
But then
overall is.
again, he's, like, a little bit older now, and so now we're gonna kinda get into, like, his older life, so, um, I look forward to seeing how he develops because now he doesn't seem as much of a trash hero as, he used to be.
Mhm.
So which is kinda nice because I really hated him before, so we'll see how this goes. Please don't make me eat my words. Um, but all of these wonderful anime that we checked out or want to still check out, because I still wanna check out Zom 100, like, really, really bad, it looks so good.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of these were shown at Anime Expo.
Right.
Yeah,
And we got
and,
to get the sneak peeks firsthand.
well,
Well,
you
some of
did 'cause
us.
you went to all the anime ones, but, we got to hear about them, be around them, and the industry because we were at AX.
Yeah. Oh, it was a
Woo!
great time. It was our first time meeting each other in person
Yeah,
too, so
we got to, like, touch each other in person. It was
that
great.
that sounds awkward.
Nothing like that happened, though.
Uh-huh.
Just a few
Oh,
hugs.
yeah, yeah. Oh, drunk Shio in person is great.
Oh, was it? I was really trying to also, like, hold back, like, full drunkenness too still. So, like, I was still enough there to, like, hold back a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So, like, it's not full drunkenness. Because if I had
Uh,
more than that, oh, then I would have been fully
uh,
let go, and that would have not been pretty.
our very different ideas of what it's like to shoot showed
Yes.
Oh.
So she's like, "Oh, yeah, let me just, like, pour myself a shot." Pours herself a fucking glass of soju, and I'm like, "That's you're supposed to drink it as shots." And she's like, "This is a shot." I'm like, "That is a full ass drink, Cyan."
And then you take your shot, and I just chug mine.
I was just like, "Oh, I mean, is this the only thing you're drinking tonight?"
I mean,
It
that's fine.
was.
But yeah,
Uh,
that's
but
for a later day though. So like, how about we
mhm.
go through it like day by day and like what we did.
Yeah, we can do that here.
Mm-hmm.
So do we wanna start with my fuck up?
Wait, which fuck up for the first day? What for the first day?
Uh, before I even
Oh
arrived.
my god! All right, before the con. Okay, okay. Hear this, right? I
Oh
I booked my flight and everything after Shio did.
my god. Yes, yep.
And I messaged her when I was booking it. I was like, "Hey, when does your flight land in LA so that I can book my flight around yours?" Because I was like, "Okay, that way we get there around the same time. We can take an Uber or something back to the hotel at the same time. We can save a little money, you know.
Yep.
Won't be that
Mhm.
big of a deal." She sends me 11 o'clock a.m. And I'm like, that's a little early, but it's okay. That's fine. We can chill around, maybe get food while we wait for us to be able to check into the hotel. It's not that big of a deal. Um, so I get to the airport, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like hitting up the Starbucks inside. Got me a coffee. I sat down for a drink, and Shio messages, "Have a safe flight." I'm like, I'm already in LA, and she's like, "Oh, I haven't boarded yet. I'm not even at the airport yet." I'm like, uh,
No, it's at the airport.
"You're
I
at the
haven't
airport."
boarded my flight
Yeah,
yet.
I'm like, I thought you were landing at 11, and she goes, "No, I landed so and so time." I like what was it, like 3 or 4, and I just
Yeah,
go back in the
3:30.
conversation, screenshot where she told me 11, and sent it to her.
Yeah, I sent her the time my departure, plane has its layover, or, like, my arrival for my layover, because it was right underneath it where I was looking, and I looked at the wrong flight information, and I
And I'm
I
like,
felt so bad.
I'm
Like,
like, I
"Oh, no,
just
I can't
bought a
believe it."
coffee I don't need. I'm like, I'm not staying here for 5 hours waiting for
I
you
don't
to
blame you.
land. So
I don't blame you.
I navigated myself around to get a lift back to the hotel, and I was like, okay, um, I'm just gonna chill in that hotel lobby for a little bit and kill some time. Sat in their lobby, their really fucking nice lobby with their very cursed Tanjiro set up in the corner that we never got a picture of.
Oh my god, I'm so mad about that. I
They,
wanted
they
a
had
picture
like a
so bad.
photo op in the middle of this very nice lobby that is like it's all gold, and there's this nice staircase right in the middle, and then there's just this backdrop for Demon Slayer with this very cursed drawing of Tanjiro in the corner, and I'm just
So
sitting here
cursed.
staring at it and like, oh no. This is
Oh.
what the weekend's gonna be like.
Oh,
Luckily, they let me check in like hours early. I was
oh,
able
that's nice.
to check into the hotel like noon, and check in it wasn't until like 3. So
Oh, that
they
was
had a
nice of
room
them.
ready and everything, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. Helps that I'm a Omni Plus member, so
Ooh.
yeah. So we got all that taken care of. I got into the room, took a little nap, and then waited for Shio to show up. Uh,
Meanwhile, I was at the airport going like, "Oh no, I'm such a terrible person."
I'm just like, oh my god.
I'm like, "I can't believe I did that." And
That's
then having an anxiety attack on the plane because I hate flying because I feel like I'm gonna die.
everyone on my plane was a fucking weeb. Like I swear to God, like I'm watching all these people board, and I'm like, okay, there's one normal looking person. That's obviously a weeb. That's obviously a weeb. That's obviously an anime fan. And like the two people that sat next to me, they were really nice.
Mhm.
There were a couple, and one of them was working like a booth there, and it was just her boyfriend with her. And they sat down, and I was just like immediately like, oh, y'all are definitely Anime Expo people. And they kind of looked shocked that I knew that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna say it. And then I just put in my earbuds and watched the horrible new Dragon Ball Z movie, and then I got talked to about Dragon Ball Z for the remainder of our flight.
The guy next to me, he was a LA native.
Mm.
And he was in my area because he went to a bunch of baseball games. So we
Oh
had a
wow.
conversation about baseball stadiums.
Oh my god.
And he's like, "Oh, you've never been to California before? Da, 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 da." And then he was like, as we were like landing, descending, he was pointing out things out the airplane window, being like, "That's this place. That's this place," because he flew a lot. And I'm like, I just kind of want to chill in my anxiety, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Oh, I'm gonna say something that was really dumb of me. Because so
Mhm,
I've always flown Spirit
mhm.
prior, which everyone hates on it. I've had no problem with. I had more problems with this Delta flight than I've ever had with Spirit. So I'm like,
Oh.
fuck off. So I've never had the experience of like in-flight movies kinds of things because Spirit doesn't have those.
Mhm.
So having the monitor there was kind of like weird. But I brought my laptop, and I was like, I downloaded some movies. I'm gonna watch. I had Howl's Moving Castle, and then I had 2 DBZ movies downloaded on there so I could watch. Uh, so on the flight there, I watched the DBZ superhero movie. And on the flight back, I was gonna watch Howl's, and then they pass by and they hand me earbuds. And they didn't do that the first time because I was one of the last people to board because they didn't have a seat for me. So
Oh,
they
you're
they
right.
they technically they overbooked both my flights, so I didn't have a seat for either one. But for this one specifically, I was on there so late that they had already apparently handed those out. Because I thought you paid for in-flight movies. I didn't think it was like a complimentary thing.
Yeah.
Um, so on the way back, I watched the actual movie on their little screen thingy. But I was like, damn, I over prepared with my laptop and everything. I must look like a fucking weirdo with my big ass laptop in my lap, trying to hunch over and watch this Dragon Ball movie.
No, you look normal because everyone on my flight, we didn't have, like, screens because I
Mhm.
flew Southwest,
uh
but they did have if you use your device, they had, like, complimentary movies you could watch through them. You had to pay for, like, regular Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
um, but the movies that they offered were free to watch as long as you logged in,
Fair. Okay.
which I didn't watch any of them. I paid for Wi-Fi on, my flight there,
Mhm.
but I did not on my 2 other flights. I just kinda Oh, no, wait, I lied. I did pay for it, um, on my first flight, 'cause I had a layover. My first flight coming back, but I didn't do my last one because it was only, like, an hour flight. It was a really dumb flight,
Yeah.
and it was full of Swifties. It was all Swifties
Oh
because Taylor
no.
Swift just had her concert in Kansas City, so
Oh
all of them were
no.
flying home. Actually, most of them were, going half my plane was going to Houston, so they just had a layover where I was at, but
Mhm.
it was like an hour flight, and it was just like, I'm just gonna chill here for an
Oh
hour,
my
and
god.
I don't even know what I did. Um, but I just know I was so tired. Did did I tell you this, Cyan?
Mm-mm.
So on my returning flight, um, I didn't know that you couldn't check in your bags more than 4 hours before your flight.
Oh my god. I didn't know that
So
either, so that's fair, but
so I learned that, because I showed up the night before
mhm.
because I mentioned I didn't wanna try to get a Uber downtown LA where we were at 2 in
Yeah.
the morning.
Which we'll get into that later.
Yeah, so, I did, and I ended up I couldn't check in or do anything at all because I had my checked bag. So I had to, like a hobo, sit in front of, like, the check-in area all night until 3:30 AM when they finally let us check in bags
Oh my
for my
god.
6 AM flight. And, I have all my stuff. I'm not gonna sleep because it's LA. I don't know if someone's gonna walk up and steal it. I didn't think anyone would, but, like, I'm on
Yeah.
my so I stayed up all night.
Oh my god.
And I was, like my returning flight, I, like, was dozing. I was listening to music and I was dozing. And then, on my last flight, I was, like, wide awake. I'm like, "I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna go to bed."
Wow.
I was so tired.
Oh my
But,
gosh.
yeah, I forgot. No, I was so tired. I was like, "No, I didn't watch anything. I just went to sleep on my first flight."
That's
Even
fair.
then, I didn't sleep well. I kept waking up every, like, 5 minutes.
I can't sleep in a sitting up position or else I probably would, uh but yeah, so that was our first meeting essentially, and then we
Yeah.
went and walked through LA to go get some groceries and some drinks for the room, and Shio got jump scared by a giant rat running in front of her.
Okay, it wasn't so much the rat itself that scared me, it was just there was something that I wasn't expecting moving in front of me. I was just like, it could have been, like, the cutest of bunnies, it would have scared me.
Yeah.
It just so happened to be a rat.
Also, can we talk about how like one the prices at that Target we went to were a freaking nightmare, but also
Oh
there was
god.
just nothing. Like they had the weirdest grocery section I've ever seen at a Target before, because a Target already isn't known for their grocery section, but like
No, they're
they
not.
did not have a selection of much of anything. And also the fact that a pack of granola bars was basically $20 is insane.
Yeah, I was, like, sitting there like, "Oh," because as before the con, I don't wanna, like, spend too much and then I was thinking we had to take it to the Airbnb if we didn't eat it
Mhm.
or whatever. So we're just like, "I don't wanna spend as much money on, like, shitty food."
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, we probably still should have bought more than sodas and chips, but
Yeah. I was regretting that
yeah,
afterwards. I
because
was like, "Oh,
then I just ended up buying a lot of food from the food trucks inside the con, which was probably
same."
more expensive.
In the long run, yeah. I
I
did the
still
same.
regret they had a that Genshin Impact ice cream place. I wish I would have tried it.
I do wish I would've too.
The
I
line
looked
was
really
always
good.
so long every time I went over there, though.
There was one time I went and it was short. Because
Mm,
that's when I got a picture of the Richest Fine.
yeah,
I was there, but other than that, every other time, yeah, you're right, it was super long.
fair. Um, so yeah, on to like our actual Anime Expo experience and not just our travel stuff, but like first day. So I've been to Anime Expo before, at least one time before. This was your first experience with it.
Yes,
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much was it of what you expected on the first day?
an 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, 'cause what I expected was bigger scale,
Mhm.
and longer lines,
Yeah.
and it met it it really was exactly what I thought. I was just,
Yeah.
like, imagining ASEN, but way more packed,
Mhm.
longer lines, and way bigger scope, and it did all that, and
Wh-
I wasn't surprised.
Honestly, the lines were a lot better this year than the one I went to in 2019.
Mhm.
Mostly, I think
Yeah.
they weren't cracking down. I don't know if they weren't cracking down as hard on the bag checks, or if just less people were bringing in bags because we didn't have that whole line situation.
Yeah,
Um,
I was kinda like, "Oh, man, I could bring a bag, and it wouldn't have been a big deal."
yeah. Oh my god, my can we address the pet peeve of the misrepresentation of what Anime Expo is like on social media real quick? Because I'm still pissed about that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So everyone who has not been to Anime Expo has this misconception of what Anime Expo is like because every fucking year there's like 5 people who want to get that clout by taking a picture of Anime Expo within the first like 10 minutes of it opening and be like, this is what Anime Expo's like the entire fucking time. Like, why would people want to be here? This is insane. Literally not like that at all. Like,
It's literally only like that for the first 30 minutes, like, up
yeah.
to before it opens and the first 30 minutes when people are coming in, and then after that, it's not like that at all.
And honestly, a lot of that problem is kind of brain dead idiots in the first place because they open the doors and start letting people in before dealer's room and artist alley open. So that main foyer area where both of those rooms are at, or their entrances are at, is what is getting taken a picture of
Yeah,
because
it's
all
the
those
only
people.
area people are allowed in.
Yeah. Well, no, you can still go into the hallways for all the panels because you can get in line for the
Mm.
panels before then. But a majority of those people are waiting to get into the fucking dealer's room in Artist Alley, first come first serve for some fucking reason. I know
Yeah,
there are some
for
con
exclusives.
exclusives, but
Yeah.
there's not that many con exclusives, and I guarantee you more than half of those people don't have the money to be buying some of these con exclusives. They're just going in there to look. Like,
I mean, the Death Note special edition sold out every single day, and it was only like $10, and I was so mad I missed it every day.
yeah. But like a lot of the stuff, like the figures and stuff like that are more expensive. Like you, the most of those people weren't buying shit like that. Like
Yeah.
there's no reason to get in there that early unless you actually are planning to buy an exclusive or you have a panel
Um,
that early. And most
yeah.
of those people aren't doing either of those things. But yeah, as soon as the dealer's room and the artist alley open, all those people file out. And while that main foyer area is still packed by normal standards, it is still very easy to navigate through, very easy to walk through. I can walk through it around like 12 o'clock noon, and I'm not brushing elbows with everybody I walk by. It's like it's not that big of a deal. And as
Wow.
time goes on throughout the day, the crowd gets less and less.
Yeah.
And then once the
It
dealer's room and artist alley are closed, the crowd is basically non-existing.
pretty
So
much. Everyone at that point's kinda either going to their late panels or,
mhm.
looking for a party.
Yeah. So
So
it's nowhere near as bad as everyone makes it out to seem. And I hate that it's every year somebody or 3 people or something post those pictures and they get retweeted to death on Twitter, they get shared on Facebook, on Instagram. People are like, "Oh my god, I'm never going to go to Anime Expo." Don't let that fucking deter you because I think Anime Expo, if you're a true like big anime fan, it is an experience you should have at least once.
Yeah, at least once. Like, you go once, and if you don't like it, you don't gotta go back.
Yeah, but I'm like, you're gonna
Or
get
yeah,
something out of it. You're
yeah.
going to have a good time in some way, shape, or form, unless you're just completely antisocial and don't know how to interact with human society. But that's your own
Even
problem.
then, you would still have a good time because there's a lot of nice shopping to do.
Yeah, even like not the shopping wise, like oh my god, that Karama at the beginning of the dealer's room.
Ah, so pretty.
That was fucking gorgeous. Like they had that, they had the giant Luffy, the giant Totoro, the Team 7 from Naruto
Yeah, they
figures.
were
Like
good.
they have so many big like statues things to look at that's just like your nerd brain is just like so excited to see this shit. Like
Honestly, it was just seeing all the, like, different displays in the booths and everything, it felt
mhm.
like Christmas. It was
Yeah.
just like that was so exciting. Um, really, like, that is just, like, kinda what made the atmosphere. It's just like, "Oh my look at all the cool little, like, sets and everything," and that's what made it really fun.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like it's very diverse because like you're still basically getting vomited on by shonen stuff. There's a lot of Naruto and DBZ and
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh, but they had the idol displays. They had the Genshin
Yes.
wall of all the gamers stuff, and they had like they have those throughout the con. They have good like manga like displays and stuff of all the things that are getting licensed. They have stuff like that for every like niche genre within the anime
Mhm.
community and even like
Yeah.
some of the bigger communities. It's not just all shonen stuff. So you there's something for everybody there, no matter what fandom you're part of within the anime umbrella.
Yeah, and, as someone who's especially looks for that really niche stuff, I was very appreciative of how diverse it
Hmm.
was.
Uh, so first day, you went to more panels than I did, I think.
Yeah, but we were, at the beginning, we were kind of
Yeah,
exploring together.
yeah,
Um
we went through dealer's room together, and it kind of like got our bearings a little bit. And I think did we go to the entertainment? Yeah, we went to the entertainment hall as well, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so
Um,
entertainment hall is like all the gaming stuff, all the cosplay stuff. Um, they have like a lot of the VTuber meet and greets were in there as well. So we walked in there.
yeah,
And we
and they
saw,
had all the gaming oh, you might have already said the gaming stuff and
mhm.
everything too.
Yeah, the tabletop gaming and the video game areas and all the like I guess non-anime but anime adjacent stuff is generally in there.
Yeah, or, like, the stuff that's not it's more experience-based versus
Hmm.
buying-based.
Yeah.
There's still stuff to buy there, but it's more of an experience than it is, "Come
Hmm.
here and buy stuff."
Yeah.
So, whereas the exhibit I mean, the dealer's hall was more buy
Yeah.
stuff, buy stuff, buy stuff.
Yeah, but this was kind of
Um
our day of just like kind of looking around and seeing where everything was. We did our deep dives, I think, the next couple days individually. Like we still
mhm,
walked around a
oh
little bit, but like I feel like we found individual things we didn't see the first time around.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
I know there was a
but
few
yeah, I
things I
think
missed.
oh, yeah, there's stuff I wish I would've kinda came back and around for that I
Hmm.
in hindsight, that I forgot about. I was like, "Oh, right! Whoops."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I split off around like, it was, like, around 1 it wasn't 1:30, it was, like, closer to 2 o'clock I split off,
What? This
to
was
go to panels.
this was the day I think I split off because I met up with Kazooie and Lettuce and TK, wasn't it? Or was that the second day? That
That
was
was
the
the
first day.
second day.
It was second day. Okay.
It was second day because I left before you did on the second day because I had that really early panel. No, wait, no, you
No.
did meet them on the first day, you
Yeah,
did because
I
we
was gonna
split off.
say because like I
I went to a
split off and
panel and then you were spending time with them, right, I
yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
So I met up with some people I know through streaming. That a couple of them I met before, but I've never met Kazooie before. She's lovely in person.
I
And
really, really wanted to meet them, it just never worked out.
yeah, planning trying to find people in this place is insane. By the way, we
Yes, it
learned that the hard
is.
way.
Yeah, we were like, "Over here." "Where?" "Over here," and it
uh
just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was doing more of the social thing on the first day. I went to 3 panels total. And one of them I only stayed there for like half the time. So,
Oh, yeah, I went to a lot more panels than you did.
yeah. I had planned to go to a lot more, but the one we didn't make it inside in time to do the Bungo Stray Dogs.
Yeah.
The trigger panel, by the time I got there, the room had already been capped.
Mhm.
And like that's gonna be the case with a lot of the bigger panels. Depending on how big the panel is, depends on how early you should get there.
Yeah. It
Um,
also didn't help that they didn't clear the rooms for most of the panels. The
yeah,
only panel rooms that got cleared were the ticketed ones and the
mhm,
18 plus ones,
yeah,
which means everything else was not cleared,
yeah.
which honestly, for those bigger ones, they should have cleared.
It I don't know. I kind of like because a lot of my panels I got into or because I got there beforehand and I just kind of found a seat. So
Yeah, we'll
um
talk about that when we get there.
yeah.
So
But so yeah, I didn't get to go to the trigger one. I did go to so I went to the Bandai Namco Entertainment Summer Showcase, which was mostly video game related stuff and
okay.
announcements. A lot of fun. I saw a lot of things I would love to play on stream. Um, I did the content creation around anime panel and got a that's where we met back up at because you ended up
Yes.
seeing me there. And then I had stopped in on the Bang Zoom Studios inside the anime dubbing subtitle studios, which I'm all about the anime dubs. So I was really excited about that one. And I kind of got like a little bit of an inside look of how the company works and stuff and how the dubbing works. A little better of an inside look of just generally what we get at cons where, oh, how'd you get into anime voice acting work kind of thing, and more of just like actually how the process goes,
Yeah,
which was a
which is
lot of
way more
details.
interesting.
Yeah. So those were like the three panels I was able to make. I ended up missing the Mappa one because I was out eating with Kazooie and them.
Okay.
But oh wait, one more thing
Oh.
before we go over the panels that you went over. This was the
Yeah.
day. So are a few podcasts that I'm a huge fan of.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
two of them, one of them was at the con, and they were both there, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to meet both of them because I've been a fan of both of the people that are on this podcast individually. Um, one more than the other because I've followed him a lot longer and he does content that's more geared towards me. The other one just does very very entertaining homoerotic reactions to the most non-gay gay anime that exists basically. Um but I was like, oh, I can't wait to meet both of them. And as I'm walking back to the con with Kazooie and them, I just passively see tattoos and I'm like, those tattoos look familiar. And I turn around and I run up to this dude and I like tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, oh my god, is it you? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. And like, got a picture with him. The other host had already like ran off, so I didn't get to meet him. But I was so excited I got to actually find him on the one of them on the first day and like get a picture and like talked with him a little bit and everything. And it kind of became a story on their podcast. I'm still not okay.
Yeah, and you got misinterpreted.
And then he literally says, like, oh yeah, she was clearly a fan of yours and really wanted to meet you, which, not wrong, I really would have wanted to meet the other guy. But it's so bizarre because I'm like, I got categorized as that because I'm female and the other guy's fan base is mostly female, where I'm huge into Naruto content and I'm like, actually, I'm a bigger fan of yours, but I don't want to be an asshole. But I was so scared because I was like, they start telling the story, and I'm like, oh, he's about to talk shit on me. I did something cringy because I'm replaying my entire conversation. I'm like, oh my god, did I say something wrong? Did I come off as like a creepy fan? What did I do wrong? And then he's like, oh, she's a lovely lovely person. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know how to take this. Anyways, um, your panels.
Oh,
What do you
okay.
find out?
So, those who know me know that I'm really big on the manga side of the industry. Like manga licenses is like my jam. So a lot of the panels I picked going to all kind of had to do with either manga publishing or license announcements. So the very first panel I went to was the Kodansha USA panel. So they were talking about some like their booths and what they had to offer, and they were doing like all of their announcements for kind of like this half of the year. And it was super duper cool. I have a list of the ones I was really excited for. I was, like, especially excited for the Initial D omnibuses that they announced. I've been wanting to get that for a long time. They had the Fairy Tale omnibus, they had some new titles, like, "Turns out my online friend is my real life boss," and "Anyway, I'm falling in love with you," "Medalist," "KX Yaku bound by law," "Nude model," "I got reincarnated in a BL world of big man boobs."
What
I
the
can't say
actual fuck?
I can't say no to The Lonely Girl, A Brief Moment of Ichiga, The Yearning Fox Lies in Wait, Number Call, The White and Blue Between Us, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Oh, so excited about that one. Gazing at the Star Next Door, also super excited for that one. I See Your Face Turned Away, Adieu, The Blue Wolves of Mibu, and Sketchy. Those were all the ones I was super duper excited for. Um, Addressing the one that you reacted to, yes, that's a real title. Do you remember, they called it the new Dick Fight Island is what they called it.
Oh my god.
They said it's gonna be like the next one that people are gonna buy purely because of the name.
Mhm.
But they said it's actually genuinely really funny and enjoyable. And I'm like,
Interesting.
"This sounds very fun." It's apparently it's about this guy who just, like, he wanted to get isekai'd, and when he got isekai'd, he ended up being in a B oh, no, he was he wanted to be reincarnated into a world full of, like, beautiful boobs. And, when he got reincarnated, it was a world of all men and it was all BL, and the only kind of boobs there were man boobs.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, "This sounds like a great dose of karma." So I'm very excited for that and the other titles as well. Um, the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity I've been reading, and that one I was really excited for because it's really cute. Um, but yeah, so I was really excited for that. That panel was kind of one of my favorite panels just because it had the most hype licenses, to me, that I was interested in. Um, and then I kinda ate, and then I wanted to go to the Square Enix panel, but I didn't think it was going to be that big of a panel because it was mostly about their manga licenses.
Mhm.
No, it was capped off leagues before I even thought of getting in line for it. And so I went to the panel that was before the Yen Press panel. And that was really interesting because they were talking about, like, drone shows and different kind of, like, anime festival-ish kinda shows and performances that they can do. Um, and it was interesting, but the best part of that panel was at the end of the panel, they're like, "Yeah, guess what? We're gonna play Anime Musica's Kahoot."
Oh my god.
And, I had the time of my life. And I dominated. I annihilated everyone. I won by a landslide. It was great.
So this
So if
is
you were in that panel with me, I beat you. And I would have beat you more if I didn't misclick on 2 questions.
this is one thing I really love about going to cons, especially cons like this.
Mhm.
Just a slight side note because
Yeah.
um it really drives home like the difference of like different levels of anime fans and like how people react in real life versus how people who are chronically online act.
Yes.
Um because yeah, I had a situation. I'm not gonna go into detail on this one because this is a day 2 one, and I still don't want to go into too much detail. But there was
Oh,
like a
yeah.
situation where they were like, oh yeah, guess the anime with the like the very vague description we are giving, and like nobody around me knew anything like that they were describing because they're all anime that are premiering in summer, like starting this week. But I had already looked through all the trailers, and I'm like, how do y'all not know this? Have y'all not looked at the summer list of all the anime that are coming out this summer? Like I just watched all these PVs like a week ago. Have y'all not done this? Have y'all not done y'all's research? And I'm like, oh yeah, some people are just like kind of not that big into anime. Like they're anime, they're fans in a way, but they're not like that hard into it. I'm like, there's my reality check that I'm too far gone. So it's fun to see like the different levels of like you still think, oh, this is a massive anime fan because they spent $160 to come to this anime con halfway across the country, but at the same time, like there's people beyond that.
Yeah, you can tell it wakes you there's a lot more I wouldn't say casual,
Mhm.
but there's a lot more passive anime fans
Mhm.
than people like us that are chronically online.
Yeah.
Um But, yeah, no, I took that with victory. Granted, like, they had me sweating for the beginning because I misclicked 2 questions, but, I definitely dominated by the end.
Yeah.
Because it was all, like, it was all easy anime openings.
Mhm.
Um, some of them I was like, "Oh." I think what happened is, like, a lot of people, like, they knew certain ones, but they had no idea on others. Because a lot of people will try to quickly because they had a lot of older stuff and newer stuff, so people who knew the newer stuff typically got the newer stuff right, and
Yeah.
people who knew the older stuff got the older stuff right. I think there was only, like, 1 question that was, like, super niche that I got, um, because it was like, oh, like, even I was like, "I don't really know, but I guessed, and I guessed correctly." I'm just good at multiple choice.
Mhm.
Um, um, but then the Empress panel happened, um, and, that was a full house. Uh, they announced, a lot of cool stuff there too. I think the one that everyone's the most excited for was the omniscient, reader's viewpoint, which is a manhwa. Um, that's been pretty popular lately. They had, most of their announcements were, like, manhwas. So, I'm more on, like, the manga side. I mean, I'm excited, I'll probably buy some of the manhwas they announced, but, like, I'm more on, like, the manga side of things. So, I wasn't as hyped, but I will definitely be checking out some of the stuff that they announced because it sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But, after that, I went to go look for Cyan. I was like, "Alright, Yen Press is over, time to look for Cyan."
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh. Um. Yeah, so that's about all. Like, yeah, you found me at the content creator panel, which that one was a lot of fun because
Mhm,
so I didn't know what to expect out of that panel because they didn't have a lot of information on it
mhm.
regarding like who was going to be guest there, and it was fun because like there was a Twitch streamer that I'm a fan of that I actually follow, and then the other two are a couple that do reactive content to anime that I have seen some of their videos. Um, and they were kind of like they had an actual representative from Twitch that does the non gaming side representation, and they were kind of going through like various questions of like uh, what how do you view this kind of thing on anime content creation? Like, what struggles have you gone through? Like, what different platforms do you suggest? Things like that. Shio got there just in time for them to open up the Q&A and for the horrible crowd questions to start coming in because some of the questions were really good,
Yeah, there's
but
a few good
some
ones.
of the questions like you can find in a 5-second Google search of something. It's not that big of a deal. It's like okay, you don't really need to be like yeah, walk me through how to make a good thumbnail for my YouTube video so I can get into the algorithm. Like, you don't need to ask that at a panel because they can't tell you that on a panel. Like, it depends on what your content is, and what depends on what your audience is. And that's exactly the answer they gave. Like, it depends on what audience you're reaching and what your content is. That's what what the title of your video should be. That's what your thumbnail should be. You need to cater to them. Without us knowing in-depth description of what your channel is, we can't help you with that. And it's like,
And at that point, they're like, "And we don't wanna hear that because that's not what we're here to do."
yeah, and it was like
They
it was
didn't say that, but that's, like, the
yeah,
vibe
like
always. So,
they were very kind. They were all
yes.
very sweet people, and they gave a lot of advice, and I took a lot of mental notes from that. I also got the card for the Twitch guy for the anime content creation because I had some questions, and I sent him a couple emails, and yeah, I've been a little back
Oh,
and forth there. So yeah, gonna
cute.
start upping some content quality there. Um, Man, it was I want to say a lot of stuff is things I already kind of know since we're already kind of like in the anime content creation, even on a small scale. We also hang around a lot of content creators to a degree, so I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff they covered is like kind of common sense to us, and I understand it not being common sense for the regular audience. But it was still really cool to like kind of see different takes on it, especially one of them being anime reaction creation, and then the other one kind of does like
Or short form.
short form, but also more deep dives kind of content in a way. So it was kind of fun to see like where the similarities were between the two content creations and where the like differences were on how they approach things. So
Mm, it I do have to say, I did enjoy that they pointed out exactly what I didn't like about stuff that I didn't realize I didn't like about stuff, and I'm like, "So that's why I like that. Okay, that makes sense."
yeah.
I was just like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Hmm.
They
Uh,
pointed out things that I didn't quite wrap my head around, so I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's cool."
It's nice to get kind of an outsider's perspective on a lot of things. And segueing into day two, I got a lot of that for day two. So one of my biggest joys in Anime Expo, because you get a lot of firsthand looks, or a lot of quote unquote firsthand looks, and a lot of previews of things. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's not worth it because they literally posted online immediately after. And even some of the panels were live streamed on
Oh, it's
their
so
Twitch channel.
different live. It's so
But
different being there in
it's
person.
it's it's not just different being in person. It's so great to hear the audience reaction, because as someone that's been chronically online for the past 3 years because of COVID, you kind of get this mob mentality from different platforms that you hear anime opinions from, whether it be Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at. You kind of like, each platform kind of has their niche that they push and their opinions that they push, and you kind of hear the same things. But it's bizarre how different that is in person, and like the people that aren't chronically online and what they're excited for, and hearing that excitement like being roared in my ears made me very happy.
Yes.
Because day two for me was more PVs mostly. I did go to the Studio Bones panel, which it was their anniversary panel. They kind of went over some of their past works and like a lot of industry stuff, which was really cool. And they kind of like announced a few projects that they were working on. Uh, so I was excited about that. But the big one.
Oh, I'm so mad about this too.
So
Ah,
let's go to first thing in the morning, where I'm like, I'm really torn because I have two panels I want to attend that happen at the same time. There is the Link Click season 2 premiere with the director, and I love season 1 of Link Click, and I really wanted to see season 2. And then there was the Katakawa animation panel that Giga and Sea Dog were gonna be at, and I thought in my head, because I had read the description for the panel, like Shio's gonna be at this panel. Like there's no doubt. She's not only a fan of Trash Taste, but she's also like this panel is like right up her alley for a specific reason. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. I'll meet up with her at that one, and that's where we can meet up at in the middle of the day. And I asked her about it in the morning, and she's like, I don't know. There's another panel I want to go to. I think I'm gonna go to that one instead. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I was like, whatever. So I went to I spent most of the day between the Studio Bones panel and that one, kind of like hanging out with people, meeting people, chatting with people I've known before that I ended up running into, and just kind of like browsing entertainment halls, seeing the White Shorts stuff. Get to the Katakawa line after trying to find it in the Marriott after a very awkward
oh,
encounter. Yeah.
yes.
Um. So I go to this panel. This panel is um mostly PVs for a lot of anime that are going to be airing. Giga and Sea Dog are kind of they give a little description of what the anime is going to be about, and then they show the PV, and you can hear what people are excited about, and you can hear whether it's all the girls are screaming or all the dudes are screaming or just everybody's screaming. It was super exciting to like hear all the differences in like what people were excited for. And then they premiered the first episode of, what is it, Happy Married Life?
My happy
My
marriage.
my happy marriage. And like they premiered that, and I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, that was kind of cute. And I couldn't really read the subtitles because I was a little far back. We're gonna, before we get into that though, I want to complain
Oh,
because I've told you this story in the hotel room, but I think you got
Oh,
overshadowed by what this panel was actually about.
oh.
So there was a dude at the end of my aisle, and there was a anime that got announced, or we got the trailer for, called Bullbuster. And as
Oh,
soon as they
right.
say Bullbuster, like Giga made the joke a little bit later of like, it says Bullbuster, guys, not the other thing. But before he even says this, the dude at the end of my fucking seating area is just D's nuts, D's nuts, D's nuts, D's nuts, and I'm like, bro, that is not how a D's nuts jokes work, and you are not funny, and you're just making an ass of yourself. Because everyone in our surrounding area just kind of turned and looked at him like, you're you're not all the way there, are you? Are you high? Are you like mentally sane? And then like Giga does the correction, and then he starts standing up and screaming it again, and we're just like, my dude, chill. Um, then Giga on stage makes the joke like, apparently the Bullbuster anime is made by Studio Nut, which hadn't even been announced yet, and this guy's still like over here screaming D's nuts like he just made the funniest joke in the fucking world and laughing at himself, and I'm just like, all right, home dude, you gotta fucking chill. Uh, this dude also
Yeah.
only screamed for every fucking isekai that got a PV. Like his biggest one was the PV for the ReZero new season, but like
Eh.
literally the only things he stood up and screamed for was his stupid D's nuts jokes and every shitty isekai that had a trailer. He wasn't excited about anything else. So now, anytime someone says they're an isekai fan, you are that guy
These
in my
nuts.
head. You are literally. I have a visual, like representation of what I think you are like in real life. Congratulations, you're lumped in with that guy. Anyways,
Womp
fast
womp.
forward. We watched the PV, enjoyed the panel. It was really cool to see what people were excited about. So I know what to look out for because it's very different from what people have been pushing online. It was actually really really bizarre because a lot of stuff that people were screaming about in the panel were things that I haven't been seeing a lot of posts on Reddit or Twitter or any other platform really. So it was great. But I get back to the hotel room and I'm just like, yeah, the first episode of My Happy Married Life was great, and Shio just loses her fucking mind.
I did. I didn't realize because I don't know if I just read part of the description and then just like didn't finish reading it, even though I read through all of them on stream. I guess I just must have missed this. That I didn't realize that the second half of the panel was going to be a premiere of My Happy Marriage, which I've been hyping for months.
Which is why I thought you were going to the panel because you have not stopped talking about this anime at all.
No, I haven't, and I even watched, like, episode 2 earlier today, and I was, like, almost in tears over it. I'm loving this adaptation. It's absolutely phenomenal. Um, and I can't believe I completely missed the fact that that was what the panel was about. I just thought it was gonna be all Gigguk and, Sea Dog just talking about I didn't realize that last piece. That last piece, if I knew about that last piece, I probably would've tried to, as much as I really, really wanted to go to that panel that I did end up going to, I probably would have skipped it to go to this panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I still really enjoyed that panel I went to instead.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad I went to that one and not the Link Click one because I'm pretty sure Link Click I would much rather um, wait for a few episodes to come out because
mhm,
oh my god,
yeah.
I love season one so much.
Yeah.
It
I
would have
did
been
talk
cool to see the
mhm,
director and all his commentary and stuff like that, but I can live without that. It's fine.
yeah. I do say the people who did go see it, they said that it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I've
you
heard.
have that to look forward
I've
to.
heard. One of the YouTubers I met the day before was like really excited for the Link Click premiere, and I'm like, oh my god. I was actually really surprised because like so Link Click's based off of a Chinese manga,
Yep.
and most of the people I know that are into that kind of stuff are female, so it was really interesting to see a guy that was like, oh god, we gotta binge watch season one. I'm taking all the dudes to go watch Link Click season 2 premiere, and I'm like, I've never met a I met a dude, like a straight dude, I guess, that's into Chinese anime or manga. So
Yeah. I
that's
mean, it's pretty good. I talked to a girl on day 3, and she went to it, and she just, like, kept gushing about it, but she kept gushing about other things because we had other things in common. So,
I
um,
love how excited anime people get in person. Like
it's
it's
so
one
good.
like because online anime fans tend to be really toxic and like really trolly, but like if you meet an anime fan in real life at a con, they're just so excited about everything. It's like watching a starry-eyed child just talk about having sugar for the first time.
That's how I felt the entire time we were there.
uh,
Um,
so what did you do day
oh,
two?
so I woke up really early and I, left early, to go to the manga publishing roundtable, because the panel was at 10 a.m. I missed half of it still because of the line to get in.
Hmm.
But I was able to catch the last half, and I really liked what I got to hear of the panel because it's just really nice hearing people who are in the industry having like, really high level conversations regarding manga licensing and manga publishing.
Hmm.
There's a really good like summaries of it that people posted. Like the Omnibus Collector was there, and he has a really nice summary of it. So if you want to know more what they talked about, I would check that out. Um, but it was just really nice to vibe and just kinda listen. I sat in the back, but they kinda talked about how, all these different manga publishers kind of approach their licenses and where they see manga publishing to kinda go in the future.
Hmm.
Um, Not just, like, with manga, but with manhwa, webtoons, everything. And there was a lot of things that they confirmed, that I was like that people talked about online. So a lot of it was, there's a lot of more stuff that now people are buying stuff and they're seeing that their manhwas, so a lot of manhwas that are really popular are like kinda like the romance ones or the ones geared towards girls, and the reason they're seeing that popularity rise is because of, like, the lack of shoujo manga being published.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to, like, backfill that hole, but, like, it was just really cool, but, like, shonen's still very, very popular and still sells really well, like, don't get me wrong. They still talked about that, but they realized, like, "Oh, so, like, the people complaining that this is, like, actually an issue, like, they're right, like, it has been an issue, and they see it up on a high level." So that was really cool to get confirmation of. Um, or, like, that was my biggest take back that like, was like, "Yeah." But there was a lot more important stuff, like, regarding licensing and publishing and where they kinda see it going in sales. So I really liked that panel. I spent most of my day after that, walking around, buying stuff, as I did pretty much every day.
Uh-huh.
We'll get into that. Um, and then I wanted to go to the Viz Media panel, but I didn't have much to do because I was, like, already carrying around so much. So I went to the panel before the Viz Media panel, which was the Grand Blue Fantasy panel. And I've never played Grand Blue Fantasy at
Hmm.
all, but the panel was really, really neat, and everyone had such love and passion there, and even the people who were obviously there for the next panel, like me, there was still, like, a respect there for everything, and it was just really, really cool. And, it also made me wanna get into playing Grand Blue Fantasy, and I have, made an account, and it is on my phone, and
Oh
I'm
my
just starting
gosh.
it. So, yeah, rest in peace me. Apparently it's very grindy, so we'll see how that works.
Shio has a
Um
new addiction.
we'll get into that too. Um, so, uh, so then I went to the Viz Media panel, which is really cool. So like I moved up. And the reason I was so hyped is because you got to meet the author. Well, got to see the author of Zom 100, the
Hmm.
mangaka, and he was like drew an exclusive thing and answered questions about like how he was writing and everything, and it was so cool. He was really chill. He was very nervous, you could tell, because he's drawing in front of a bunch of people. Um, it was really, really neat. And it was also really funny because it brought on some weird conclusions to me too. But like what I was really excited was Morita Masakazu was there. And this was in the panels that he was part of, and we kinda got to talk to him, and he loves talking. Holy shit, he loves talking, and I appreciated that. Like, there was, like, never a silence, never an awkward, like, "What should I talk about?" He was just, like, very much comfortable. He's done a lot of shows where he's had translators before because of, like, K-Lab and Bleach Brave Souls and
Hmm.
other thing works he's been in, and it wasn't his first AX by any means.
Yeah.
But he was just very comfortable, was and just kept telling us stories of how he got into voice acting, which was really, really neat because it's not like the stories you hear here because it's like the Japanese industry, so it's very different than what it was, and it was just really neat, and, um, when he shouted, like, did a bankai call,
Mhm.
there's videos of it online. When you're, like, 3 rows away from that, that is spine chill inducing. I was just like, "Oh my god, Ichigo Kurosaki just said bankai and he's right in front of me." So, yeah, that was great. I enjoyed that. It was a very good panel. From that panel, I, dashed to the panel that I went to instead of the one Cyan went to. I went to the Azuki panel. And the reason I really wanted to go to that panel was because it's a manga reading platform that I've supported since it's came out. And I follow, like, the creator, and I've listened in on some, like, of their Twitter circles, and I thought it was really neat. So I wanted to go show support, and they were talking about, like, different releases that are coming out, what their plans are, and they actually had, one of the creators there for a work that was being debuted at another panel. Um, and I didn't realize that too, and that was really cool, and she answered questions about how she was forming that, and, they talked about licensing and things are going forward and quality of life updates, and it was really, really nice. There was a lot of people I recognize in the audience for level creators that I kind of interact with on my end. I was too shy to talk to them though, because I have really bad anxiety, so I just, like, awkwardly, like, left, and I was just like, "Okay, it's fine. I'll live." Um but, it was a very nice panel, and I don't regret going to it, but I definitely probably would've went to the other panel instead. But it was a lot of fun, um, and the creators were all super chill, really nice, really down to earth, and they're really passionate. So if you this is not sponsored, by the way, but, you should subscribe to Azuki and help them, get bigger so that way we can get more titles licensed and
Oh,
brought over.
100%. I think
And it's
that's
subscription based, so it's not like, you're paying by chapter, so it's
yeah.
nice.
I think that's one of the really fun things about Anime Expo is like at cons you normally get a lot of you get some industry panels and you kind of get a little bit of a look, but I feel like Anime Expo is very much like the deep dive look into various industries and a little behind
Yes.
the scenes, and you can see like what they go through, and you get a better understanding of like what all goes into bringing everything over here, and you get a kind of like more of an idea of what people are going to be excited for as well. Of like, okay, this is why. Instead of just seeing a Twitter post randomly somewhere of like speculation of why we're not getting this license or something, you get the actual confirmation in the panel, and it's like,
Yeah. It it's why I've always wanted to go to Anime Expo is I
mm-hmm,
really because it's very industry focused, and
yeah,
I love industry.
mm-hmm,
Also, it was really fun seeing, like, the publishers and, like, the editors themselves show, like, how excited they were over certain titles too. They're like, "I'm personally excited over this title. I really hope you guys really like it." And I'm just like they're like, "It's not something that's, like, super popular, but it's a title we're really excited about." And
mm-hmm,
seeing them get excited made me get excited, so now I'm like, "Okay, I really wanna check out this title now because they really like it." It's and it's not like you can't fake that kind of excitement. Like, if someone's really excited and passionate about something, like, you can tell, it's real.
right.
Um so that made me I love it. I I would love to go to more AXs, but I'm like, "Oh my god, it's such a big treat." I'm probably gonna, like, have my big events usually be ASIN from now on just because it's
Yeah,
closer.
I
And you
I
get
will.
some announcement at ASIN, but not as many as AX.
Yeah. I will probably still attend Anime Expo. As long as funds are allowed, if I have the money
Yeah.
for it, I'll probably still do it just because I enjoy, as much as I enjoy the releases and the panels, I am very, very social and I enjoy being able to meet new people. And the amount of people I've met just like, not only just regular anime fans and lions, just chatting with them, but also
Mhm.
the opportunity to be able to meet other content creators and other people that stream or do YouTube or do anything like that. Like being able to meet them and like kind of pick their brain. I even found some new YouTubers to follow through this, and like
Yeah.
which I'm always in need of because as much as I love the people I follow, they don't release videos frequently enough for me to stay on YouTube constantly to be able to watch them. So having a little more variety is always fun. And
AX is definitely, like, the networking con.
oh, 100%. Um,
Yeah.
so, did you do anything else after that
Um,
panel? Or you just went
Nope,
back to the
because
hotel?
after Azuki, I went did I go back to the hotel before you, or did we meet up after your panel?
Oh, you went back to the hotel because you said you were gonna meet up
Oh!
with me, and I was like, oh, I'll just go back to the hotel after because I'm right next to
Oh.
where the buses were.
Oh, right, now I remember what I did. I went to Lounge 21,
Oh yeah, yeah.
a and I
You'd messaged me you were there, and I was like, I had to walk in the other direction to go to the con, and I was okay. I'm gonna tell this story without telling who the story is about because
Yeah,
I was in shambles when
yep.
I got back to the hotel room. Um, oh god, this is also the day I almost punched somebody.
Oh, yeah, because someone, like,
Yes,
touched you, and it was
yeah.
weird.
So okay, uh, quick bit on that. We were in the dealer's room together, and this was the day because it was Sunday. I was dressed for church properly. I have a skirt and thigh highs that have a Hagel print on them, and uh, I was just walking through the dealer's room with Shio, and you know how people will try and squeeze past other people, and they do the little swimming hands that kind of like wheeze through. This dude comes up behind me, and he has that posture, but instead of like using his hands to squeeze past me, he just shoved it right into the middle of my back, and
Yeah, he was very rude.
it kind of hurt and it shocked me. And I thought it was like maybe somebody I knew when I turned, and I saw that it wasn't anybody I fucking knew. And this dude just like, when I turned, used the opportunity to like walk past me. I'm like, that's not how that fucking works. You're about to get knocked the fuck out, motherfucker. Didn't say that, but I'm just like watching this dude swim past me, and I'm like, bruh, you don't know who you just fucking touched. um, nah, that fucking pissed me off because just you don't do that. Like he just
Yeah,
shoved
'cause
his hands in the middle of my fucking back, and I felt
yeah.
really bad because a few minutes later, some guys had came up to me, and they had like the little tentacle finger attachments, and they very politely tapped me on the shoulder, and they were like, oh, we have something for you, and they kind of put the tentacle in my face. And if I that hadn't happened, I would have had a great laugh with these guys. And I explained the situation with them. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to come off as a bitch. Y'all, I 100% get it, but my brain is not on what I'm wearing, and 100% on like I just want to deck a guy right now because these guys were really sweet. I was not at that point in a bad mood because I was about to hunt down this motherfucker. Anyways, that was what I was wearing all con for that day, and I go to the Katakawa uh panel, and I'm trying to find my way into the Marriott, which I hadn't been there yet. So I got directions, and I'm walking across the street, and I took the back entrance, and there was this person walking behind me, and they made a like slight comment about like how cringe the face on my outfit is, but thigh highs though on a girl, and I was like, my immediate response was just, it's because I present myself as a thirst trap and undateable at the same time, and he like laughed at it, and I recognized the laugh like slightly, like it tingled a little bit in my brain of like, that laugh sounds familiar, but I didn't think anything of it. We're at a fucking con with thousands of people, and I'm dead set on like making sure I'm not lost. So to get into the Marriott, I was told to go into this door where this desk is, and then when you get to the desk, I was like, I didn't know where to go from there. Like, I asked the people at the desk, and like, oh yeah, you take this little hallway here and just follow it through, and you get to the Marriott. I'm like, okay. So we're walking down this winding hallway that is literally just me and this dude behind me, and he makes another comment of like, I don't. That's even more sketch being in a hallway with somebody dressed like you. And I made a comment about like, don't worry, I won't pin you against the wall or anything. And then he just gets super flustered. And it is at that moment I realize why I recognize the voice. And it is because it is a Twitch streamer that I am a huge ass fan of. And I'm like, I just presented myself as a thirst trap and undateable, and made a comment about pinning him against the wall, and this is his first impression of me. Please end me.
I oh my god, I was dying when you told me this story.
I didn't know he was even there. I like when I got to the panel and I was sitting down, first thing I did was got on Twitter. I was like, is he actually fucking here? Am I delusional? Is like what? There's no fucking way. And I was like, nope, he's here. I missed the announcement that he was here. Uh,
I just think it's so funny because literally either, like, the day before or you were talking about the worst ways you've been introduced to someone,
yeah,
and then this took the cake.
yep.
You jinxed yourself, and it was hilarious.
Listen, it's not a con if I don't introduce myself some horrible way to at least one person, and I feel like I've done that multiple times that con, so I'm not even gonna say anything because there's another situation that happens on day 3 if we want to move on to day 3 where we talked about that afterwards. God,
Oh,
where
yeah.
I basically got pinned to a wall. Okay,
Oh,
uh,
wait. Huh? Okay. Uh,
you were there. You were there, ma'am, when we were in line for the YouTuber panel.
oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 I remember now. Oh, yeah, oh my god, I'm sitting I'm like, "What? What? Oh, oh, right, yes, yes, sorry, my brain gapped in
Uh,
fast forwarding." So,
understandably so. So we'll leave the LootTuber panel for late after we're both done talking about panels because that was an experience that we had
okay.
together. Um,
Yes.
because
Um,
this was
yeah.
very much the day we both almost completely split from each other, other than that last panel.
Um,
Um,
yeah, and it was infuriating. This is the day that Shio got cucked in every single way.
it was. You want
It
to
was.
go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll go first because 'cause it'll be pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to do the autograph session with Marita Masakasa because 'cause I'm a big fan. What I didn't realize is people camp out for these things, and there's only 50 of them. I didn't realize that. If I realized that, I probably wouldn't have got in line for the autograph because I probably would have realized it would have sold out by the time I got there. But I didn't. So I got there really early, got in the autograph line, and waited 2 hours. I wasn't even, like I got to, like, where it was by, like, the big AX cube
Hmm.
before, someone was nice enough to go down and say, "This is sold out, this is sold out, this is sold out, this is sold out, and yours is sold out."
Oh my god.
And I was like, "Well, shit." I knew it like, I wasn't, like, pissed or anything because I knew that was a high chance of happening.
Hmm.
But I was like, "Oh, okay, so whatever, I'll go back into the con." And at that point, there was no line to get in the con, so I just, like, walked right in.
Right.
Um, so I missed that, but because I was in line for so long, I missed, like, the first event I could have gone to.
Hmm.
So then I was just like I was bumming around the dealer's room, and then, like, 2 hours before, um, my event that I wanted to go which was the bleach panel, I really, really wanted to go to the bleach panel, I got in line for it because they weren't even at that point, like, even the line for the panel before was closed,
Yeah.
so you couldn't even get so I queued up for that one, and I was, like, in the 4th line, by the way. I was in the 4th line
Oh my
and
god.
waited 2 hours, and they let in lines finally let people in, and I was talking I had a great conversation, the girl was next to me in line, so, like, it went by pretty quickly.
Hmm.
Waited for a very long time in line. Um, they let the first 3 lines in, and when they got to our line, they're like, "It's capped. We're sorry." I'm in the 4th fucking line,
My
mind you. Like,
god.
like, that's where the line started. Like, there was 3 like, there was over 10 of them, and I was in the 4th one to go
Hmm.
in, and it already capped.
Yeah.
I was pissed. I was so mad, because that was, like, the panel I came for the con for. Like, that's the one I was really excited for.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, "Wow." But, like, granted, I wasn't, like, angry taking it out or anything, like, I was just like, "Oh, that really
No.
sucks." And I'm trying to, like, have a good attitude about it, but I'm sitting here now, I'm like, "Ah, I'm so mad." But, so I got cucked out of the panel I really wanted to go to too. Barely, barely.
Yeah.
So I, went to the beer garden and waited for Cyan, who managed to get into the panel. And I, had a few drinks while, she was, at the panel I wanted to be at.
Hmm.
And I met up with you afterwards.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, "I'm just doing whatever you wanna do because I missed the things I wanted to do today."
Oh, so this was my day of actually getting up early to go to a panel because the thing I was really excited for was the Rurouni Kenshin US premiere.
Mhm.
And I was so nervous because I was in the third line, but I was like at the beginning of the third line. I'm like, oh my god, please just let me in. But it's like 10 o'clock, so I'm like, there's no way that there's people already in there. So
Yeah.
for sure, I'm gonna get in. Managed to snag like pretty good seats. It was like they did the U.S. premiere of the first episode, but they also had the voice actor and actress of the main two leads, as well as the director, I believe, of the whole project. And
Thomas Saito.
they had a whole Q&A with the two. The two voice actors, absolutely like very enjoyable people. Like
Yep.
I'm not versed in Japanese VAs as well. For most things, since I don't watch them in VA. And it since Rurouni Kenshin is not announced to get a dub, I am watching it in subtitled, which is really fine. It's just not my preferred way to do it. And like the voice actress that plays Kyaoru, she's was so bubbly and so sweet. She was a little, you could tell she was a little starstruck because they were asking her about her experiences getting into this role when there are very veteran voice actors that are also working on this project, like the voice actor for Kenshin.
Yeah.
And she was like you could tell, like, yeah, she very much admires their work and everything, and she was like super excited to be like working alongside all these amazing names and everything. It was very wholesome, like the whole Q&A part of it. Then the premiere happened, and they kind of broke down a little bit more questions after the premiere, and oh my god, like I feel like most of the people in this room were about my age, because everyone I was talking to were definitely like early Toonami kids. Like the guy on the one side of me, we ended up having a huge like conversation about comparing Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and like how, yeah, Cowboy Bebop's a little overrated by the younger generation, but like people that are our age, like we know there are other great anime that aired on Adult Swim and Toonami around that time that deserve just as much love, kind of things. It was so fun just being able to talk to people that are my age that share like kind of the same experience, because I don't get that a lot. Because a lot of people that are my age kind of fell out of anime events and content. Like they still casually watch stuff, but they don't dive into it as much as I do. So seeing somebody at a con that's my age, and it's just like, oh, I don't feel like a grandma anymore. This feels great. So it was a lot of fun. Like everyone was
I feel 10 years younger.
wow. But yeah, so like that premiere was fucking great. The animation for that is phenomenal. I will already rewatched the episode because the first episode's already aired. It so well done. I think they're gonna do a really good adaptation of this. So it's another one where it's just a one-for-one adaptation. It's not gonna be changing anything, because they didn't really change anything with the old anime. It just wasn't finished because reasons. But yeah, so it's gonna be great to see like in a cleaner, more crisp art style.
Reasons we know.
Yeah. No, so that's not actually the reason it wasn't finished.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But yeah, so like, which none of that bled into the panel, by the way.
I'm glad it didn't, because that was my worry concern, because the voice actors have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, no,
and
I
didn't want them
figured
to have
it
to deal with
would.
that.
The chronically online crowd are the ones that get all up in arms about that stuff. People that go in person aren't gonna waste their time with that kind of stuff. You might have one or two really dumb people. Case in point, the next panel I went to, which I'll get into. But yeah, so I went to that panel. I was kind of reeling from that afterwards, because like I was just like on cloud nine. I was so excited. Like, I don't even know. I don't want to do anything else. I'm happy with my life. I don't know what to do. So I wandered into the Aniplex panel, Aniplex of America and A1 Pictures Industry panel, and happened to be in the same room as the Bleach panel. So I just kind of stuck around in there, and that's why I wasn't able to get into the Bleach panel, basically.
Lucky.
So yeah, I was the A1 Pictures Industry panel, really fucking fun, because they did do some trailers and stuff, and it was another experience of like seeing what people were hyped for in person, like hearing the crowd get excited over different projects. But they had actual animators in there breaking down the animation process from the concept art to the hard drawing to final touches to coloring to any kind of final touch-ups that the director's like, oh yeah, actually I don't like this, so we're gonna change this right now, kind of thing. They broke it down. They did it with a scene from 86 because the industry people that were there was people that worked on 86, and then there was a
Yeah.
person that worked on Kaguya-sama. And it was so fun to kind of peel back the layers and kind of see what all goes into in the step-by-step process of it, because that's something you don't really see a lot or hear about a lot when animation, and you kind of see how much time it goes into just making this one scene of this girl crying. And it's this very short clip, and the amount of times it gets redrawn and reworked over and over again is absolutely insane. And huge respect to the animators if that's how much they fucking go through. So it was really cool until they opened up the Q&A. Because they let people, they had a lot of extra time, so they're like, yeah, we'll open up a Q&A. Worst idea that ever fucking happened. I'm sorry. People are fucking idiots. Because first and foremost, probably first 3 questions were, do we have confirmations on a season 2 gonna be come out? This show gonna come out? Are we? Is this ever gonna get an anime? And literally, this lady that's hosting the panel was like, we can't release any information on this. If it's not on our Twitter, we have no idea. This is not what this panel's for. If you have a question regarding this, go ahead and sit down, because we literally, if it's not on our Twitter, we can't say anything. Nobody went and sat down, and they continue to ask these stupid fucking questions for about 10 minutes for no reason other than just to waste everybody's time. And then you had the one asshole who decided to ask, so why does it take so long for you to animate Kaguya-sama season 2? Everyone in the like panel was just like, the fuck did he just ask? And like the lady hosting the panel, like, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't quite hear that, but we'll move on to the next question, and like shoot him away. I was just like, that's a great way to handle it, because they had to translate the questions for the industry people anyway. But I was just like, are you seriously fucking asked that? You piece of shit. I wish I was closer so I could have seen what that guy looked at, because I would have gave him hell for the rest of the fucking time. I would have followed him around with just like a bell. Shame. Like, how fucking dare. But yeah, most of the questions were just people asking, yeah, when is this gonna get released? Is this gonna get a season 2? And it's just like, she literally said they can't answer that.
Yeah.
But then the fucking Bleach panel, man. So I moved up for the Bleach panel because, you know, people cleared out, and it's like, okay. So I was like 4th or 5th row.
Nice.
And it was so good. So we got to see some like sneak peeks of like scenes from the new season that apparently are all gonna be anime only. They're not manga canon at all. So it's like freshly animated. I was like, it was so good. They kind of broke it down a little bit. They had a little Q&A. They did a Bankai contest where they went around and asked everyone that was in a Bleach cosplay to go up, and they got like 11 people, and they went on stage and screamed Bankai, and then the voice actor went through and chose the top 3 and the number 1 spot, and they all got like prizes and stuff. And of course he did a few Bankais himself and read a few lines in character, and it was very, very hype, and it was very like kind of overwhelming in a way. But yeah, it was very, very animated guy. Very
love him.
he has so much character to give, and just like talking, because there would be times when the translator would translate for him, and he'd interrupt the translator, like, no, translate it like this, and we're just like, we're like, oh my god.
You can tell he's done this a few times.
Yeah. Like he understands English enough, and he would say stuff like whenever a person would be translating something, he would repeat something that the translator said in English, but with more excitement, and would just like, my God, he was uh absolutely enjoyable. A lot of fun to watch that panel. I'm hyped to see the new season. I've been tempted. I was gonna watch the first episode. I'm like, I'll just wait for the dub. Because if I get used to the sub voices, it makes it harder. So it's easier if I can just stay consistent.
Yeah,
Uh,
I will say it was really nice, that the first episode was really good.
yeah.
Um, I'm
Uh,
very excited for the next episode.
yeah. So then met up with Shio after we grabbed some food
Oh,
in their little food
oh,
district area and some boba tea.
yep.
And we kind of hung out for
Oh,
a bit. I only missed like one panel that I wanted to do because I forgot about it, and it was the Persona 3 Reload panel that just got announced before Anime Expo, and I was like, oh, I forgot it because it was a panel that wasn't on the original roster because Persona 3 Reload literally got announced the week before Anime Expo, and then they put the panel in there. They didn't have the panel on
ah,
there beforehand, so I was like, well, fuck. So it's I threw it in my list, but it wasn't on my brain. Um, but yeah, we walked around a little bit. We did some like shopping and stuff, and we did uh
yeah, we did. We did
uh
more shopping.
we did we went to the trash taste booth.
Yeah. I
So
love this
th-
story.
this was great because so
Uh,
at the trash taste booth, this was the first time we walked past this booth, and it wasn't just like a huge ass fucking line to get merch.
yeah, it was
Which
pretty dead at this point, which was
yeah,
so nice.
which we weren't going in line to buy merch anyway. We were just kind of like going to see because they had a whole setup there that was really cool, and they had
Mhm.
the actual table or a table set up like their studio, that you could take pictures at and stuff.
Yeah.
And me and Shio are standing there, and we're like taking a picture of the table. And then the guy that's working there, he's like, "Hey, y'all want to get a picture? Because he can take a picture for us as sitting at the table we want." And we're like, "Oh yeah, sure." And we're just waiting for the people in front of us to get down. And I'm looking at Shio, which means I'm looking towards the back wall of this entire panel, and I see Garnt and Sea Dog walk up out. And I'm like, it took a minute for my mind to process. I'm like, is that Garnt? And like, oh, that's definitely Connor. So that's definitely Garnt. And I see them walk up behind and walk past Shio. And then I just see Shio's face light up when she realizes who the fuck just walked past her. Um,
'Cause my back was to them, so I
uh-huh.
didn't see any of this. I was talking to the guy who was gonna take our photo and being like, "Yeah, we'll go up there," and then there was, like, people started moving our way, and I'm like, "Okay, we're trying to get up there," you know? And
Uh-huh.
and then and then I just they're there, and I'm like and
Yeah.
I was processing the fact that they were there.
Yeah, it was just like they went and sat up at the table and let everyone get like a photo op and everything, and then they just like, oh yeah, peace out. We'll be back here tomorrow at this time, and they walked away. And Shio's face is just jaw dropped, just like did that just fucking happen?
I was so shocked and processing that I didn't even get a picture of them. Like, I didn't get a picture of them. I was, like, trying and I'm, like, shaking it because 'cause I'm, like, my brain is still processing the fact that this is happening, and I'm like, "What? What? What?
which
This is happening right now?"
which I find it so funny because you're like, I remember when we talked about possibly going to like their panel or something. You were like, oh well, I already saw them in concert, so it's not that big of a deal. And then this happens, I'm like,
But
clearly it's a big deal.
it's one thing to, like, see them on stage, but, okay, I don't have to, like, see, like, them perform or anything like that, like, that's one thing, but, like, having them literally be, like, 3 steps away from you, when you're not ready for it is a whole other deal.
Yeah. So this was Shio's reeling moment where I had mine the day before.
I was just oh my god, they were right there. I was just like
Yeah.
and then we got our picture taken,
Uh-huh.
and they were literally sitting because we sat where they were sitting just moments before,
Uh-huh.
like, it was insane.
My ass is sat where the anime zone sat.
Mine
um,
mine was where Connor's was,
yeah.
so
Oh, it was great. That was like highlight of the day for
That
sure.
was the highlight of the day, definitely. That definitely was the great pick me up that, like,
You
after
needed.
all the L's I was taking, I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, okay, I got 1 W today."
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
the picture we got was really nice too, I really
yeah,
liked the
yeah.
picture we got.
I still need to edit it so we can post it. Which
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll do that tonight, and then put like cover our faces or whatever. And
If we could just use our PNGs over the top.
that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna cut the heads off our PNGs and put them on there, decapitate ourselves. Um, but yeah, so after that, I think we just kind of hung around a little bit. And before we ended up going to the YouTuber panel,
Mhm.
which
No,
I
did we go back to the hotel room and to freshen up, and then we
oh yeah
came
yeah
back?
we did go get some drinks and stuff and like not drinks but like some snacks, some food and water and kind of relax for a minute. And then we went to the YouTuber panel, which was also in the Marriott, which I knew what to expect. I knew what we were getting into because I know what a YouTuber's chat is like.
So
So I figured, like, okay, the crowd's just gonna be the chat, but they're gonna be vocal about it. These people are just gonna be yelling titties and booba and horrible, horrible things out loud.
And I knew it was gonna be, like, because it was a Lucifer panel, I knew it was gonna be lewd,
Mhm.
and they were talking, but I didn't expect, like, I thought the crowd would be more like the other panels I've gone to. I
Uh-huh.
didn't think that it was gonna be, like, all rules out the fucking window.
Oh yeah, it was
Um, it
balls to
was
the wall, literally. Or in the case of the guy in front of us, man titty into the wall, because that guy was going off.
he was, yeah, they were.
Also, again, I want to bring up we were in this panel and we had the dude in front of us that kept like lifting his shirt and like showing off his chest.
They were dressed as, like, the Hollow Stars English guys too.
Yeah, and then like he was just like screaming like he was the equivalent of the D's nuts guy, but he was talking about like show us your titty kind of thing. Kind of dude. There was a lot of people in the audience screaming that, so not too far gone, but that was the person that was directly in front of us, and the person to my right is just reading a fucking book. Like he has no interest in the panel whatsoever. He's got a book pulled up on his phone and he is reading. He is clearly there because his friend wanted to be there, and he's just like, I don't give a shit about any of this person. He got really like kind of pissy because the dude in front of him, they were throwing like merch and stuff into the audience, and the dude in front jumped to grab something and almost knocked over the chair, and this guy reading his book got so pissed, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, dude, chill. People just like horny and mad, okay? Let them do their thing. And then we had the people behind us. I forgot what they were talking about, but they were having a whole ass conversation about something that had nothing to do with VTubers or Project Melody or any of the VTubers on screen or anything lewd. They were just talking about some kind of anime shit behind us. And I'm like, in my head, I'm hearing the panel. I'm hearing the dude to our left and the front of us talk about like show me your boobies, and then I'm hearing this conversation about an in-depth analysis of some like idol show or something, and I'm like, what is this?
Oh, if they were talking about an idol show, I would have been more interested in that, but
It was
I was totally zoned in on, like, panel
it was
or
well
what I could get off the panel, I
yeah.
should say.
I feel like they were talking about like Love Live or something like that.
Oh, if it's Love Live, then I don't know
Yeah,
anything
no,
about Love
it
Live.
wasn't your kind of idol show.
Yeah.
These were dudes, ma'am.
I mean, I can appreciate Love Live eventually, maybe.
Yeah, but it was just it's like
Almost.
we were in the weirdest spot because we were just surrounded by every possible type of person that was probably at this panel. Like we had the friend that was dragged here that didn't want to be here. You had the inconsiderate people that are they just want to be at the panel but they don't really actually care about the panel. Then you had the super fan. Like it was
And then there
insane.
was us,
There was us.
which we were like, some of there was, I'm not gonna say there wasn't females there,
Oh no, there were
but
definitely
there was definitely females there, but
yeah.
we were definitely the minority.
Yeah, no, we are not the like when it comes to a VTuber thing, and I feel like this is more of a personal thing because I when it came to the Rurouni Kenshin or the Aniplex or the Katakawa panel and stuff, I'm screaming my head off. I'm like participating in the crowd, but when it's VTuber stuff, I feel like bro, these are just like these people are just like me, dude. I can't. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna scream at them. Like, nah. The VTuber panels, it always takes a minute for it to catch up because if you have a host on the screen or on the stage trying to talk to the VTubers, there's always that divide of like, okay, they're gonna overtalk each other a little bit because they're waiting for the other person to talk and they can't see each other's reactions because VTubers are somewhere else behind a camera, and then the guy is just like watching these models just like kind of wiggle around and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then they start asking a question just as the VTubers start saying something, and it takes a few minutes for them to kind of like find that middle ground to figure out where it works. And this guy just basically said, "You know what? I'm just gonna let you girls do what you want. I'm just gonna be here." And he just sat down on the stage. It was just like, whatever, y'all got this.
He was a trooper. I
Oh
really liked that their
yeah.
MC. Their MC was really awesome.
Oh yeah. He knew he knew what he was in for
Uh,
after like 5 minutes. He was good.
oh yeah, I really liked the end of the panel.
Oh my god.
That
Where
was
they
that
made him
was
do voice
great.
lines?
Yeah, they had him do the voice lines, and I was like, honestly, he killed it.
Yeah.
And if he has his own game with voice lines, I'll subscribe. Like that
Yeah,
was good.
right. Oh no, it was interesting. Like I knew what I was getting for. I'm a Project Melody fan and Cottontail, so I was like really excited to see it and like kind of support them during their panel. But like, oh my god, anyone that ever accuses me of being a lewd tuber, please go see what an actual lewd tuber is like. 'Cause that's a whole other level.
Yeah, that was a whole other level of lewd.
Hmm.
Uh, I was prepared for it, but I was just like, I don't usually watch those streams,
Yeah.
so I won't think I was prepared for the chat-like reaction of the
Yeah.
crowd. Um, it was just like I was like, "Wow," if it wasn't for the fact that they're all so horny for these 2D, 3D girls, like, anime girls, then,
Hmm.
I'd feel very scared right now, but, because I know that they're all looking at anime girls, I feel fine.
Oh yeah, they're the 3D girls don't do it for them. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, "Oh, man, if this was any other scenario, I would be very scared." But
Yeah.
because I know this scenario, no, not a wink of fear.
No. Um. But yeah, so that was the end of our third day, and then we go into like the last day. Where did you do anything on the last day?
Yeah, I only had my one panel,
Okay.
because we were waiting for my one panel,
Oh
for
yeah.
a while.
Met met up with Nightwalker for a second time for me while he was in his lovely maid outfit.
Yeah, he was very sweet. Thank you for
Uh,
the fiery hot Cheetos, I still appreciate it.
oh, he kept bringing snacks all day. I was like, you're feeding me.
He's a trooper.
Mhm. So yeah, I hung out with him a little bit while you were in your panel. I got the surprise of a lifetime because I had enough funds to like feed myself throughout the con, but I was supposed to get paid the day after the con on the 5th. So I was like, okay, yeah, I won't be buying much at the con, which is a little sad, but probably for the best. But then my check deposited
Especially when you
early.
saw how wild I went with spending,
Yeah.
so
But then my check deposited early. So I spent most of the final day just shopping and buying stuff I didn't need to buy at the con. So nowhere near bad as Shio. I restrained myself quite a bit, but
yeah, even mine was still pretty restrained, but, uh, which, yeah, but
well,
I mean, it doesn't look like it.
I didn't have to ship anything back to myself. So
I got it yesterday.
oh my god. But yeah, so I did a lot of shopping that day and got some little goodies. But I mostly just hung around and kind of like met up with people and you know said hi and bye to people that I wouldn't see again until either like TwitchCon or ever. You never know.
Yeah.
Because they might not come to AX again. So yeah. But what panel did you go to? I forgot.
So this was one of the panels I was really excited for. I went to the Love X Love panel by Tokyo Pop.
Mhm.
Um, and for those who don't know, Love X Love is kind of like their romance line for their new titles. It's a mix of GL, BL, LGBT themes, regular romance. Like, it is kind of everything, but it's romance, of some sort. And it is essentially it's the line that has revived Tokyo Pop. Like, it's like before a few years ago, like Tokyo Pop was still like everyone's like, "Oh, Tokyo Pop's gone. Like, they're not around anymore." No, they're coming back and they're coming back really strong.
That's good.
Um, like they've grown. I've went to their one of their panels like a year ago, but even from like a year ago, they've grown so much and they're getting so big. And I've been to their panels before. Um, so they were kind of coming out with their new there were some license announcements. Most of their license announcements they announced online, but didn't announce in the panel, except for like one or two of them. So that was
Nice.
really funny. But they talked about like they highlighted a lot of their recent releases, and some of the stuff is stuff I've missed picking up because I pick up a lot of their titles because
Mhm.
pretty much everything they've licensed recently, I have loved. So I'm just, like, living at this panel. I'm like, "Yes!" But I really wanted to go and show my support, 'cause, when I was younger, my dream before Tokyo Pop went defunct at that time, was to work for Tokyo Pop. So, Tokyo Pop has, like, a really near dear place in my heart. So
Right.
I really wanted to go and show support for a manga imprint that I love and adore and want to buy every single volume that comes out of it.
Right.
Um, so it was a lot of fun. They had a giveaway at the end of, like, these, like, free, like, giveaways, and mind you, a lot of their titles are BL titles.
Mhm.
Um, and these guys are, like, that were sitting next to me were definitely not people who buy Love X Love stuff, I should say. They're they're definitely they're here because they had nothing better to do, and they're like, "Oh, it's a Tokyo Pop panel. Let's just go to the Tokyo Pop panel."
Yeah.
Um, not fully knowing, like, what this panel is, and of course, I sat on the other side of them, trapping them in the aisle. Ha ha
Oh
ha
my
ha.
god.
Um, and they won, like, all of the giveaways. And I think all of them were kinda like, "Oh shit, we got all this manga, but it's definitely not stuff we normally read."
Oh my god.
But, I'm glad that it was people, like, they got were getting introduced to it. It would've been really cool to win it, but
Mhm.
I'm glad it's people who haven't read the stuff yet before, so you
Yeah.
can kinda spread it, and hopefully they might get interested in the titles more than what they talked about, get
Right.
into it, and it was just really cool. Like, again, it was a really industry panel, and we were able to cheer and talk about stuff. Um there was, titles they talked about that I've heard them talk about before, but now I've read them since then, so I can be, like, right there beside them cheering them on, and, a few things that I have had added into my Right Stuff cart for when the birthday sale is on its final week. So, and that was pretty much all I did. I hung around with you most of the day, and then I went to this panel and then met up with you afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah. It was definitely very much the like last day of the con,
yeah,
where it was just kind of clipped. Like the only panel that had my attention was the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts panel, just because it sounds ridiculous.
it
Um,
does.
and you see panels like that all the time at cons, and they're generally like really bad. But cons panels at Anime Expo are generally like better equipped and more knowledgeable. Because like
Yeah, they're
even
very vetted.
yeah, one I didn't talk about was the because I don't remember which day I actually did this on because I did two of them, but for 3 days they had these anime debate panels where you could sign up a team and you go in there and they pull two people and they give each person a talking point and then they have the debate and everyone votes by cheering and then the winner moves on to the next day and they did that for 3 days and I attended two of them and I don't remember which. It was the
Yeah,
first 2 days of it, but I think the final day was Monday. I
yeah, I
remember.
think you went on Sunday 'cause I met up with you at
Yeah.
one of the panels, and it
So
wasn't the first day because it was
yeah,
after my manga publishing people, and I saw you posting that you were there,
yeah. So
so
I've watched those. Those are really those kind of panels can go really badly because some people are just really bad at debating and like arguing points. Um, and I like that they made it kind of fair. It wasn't so much of like, oh, yeah, y'all get to pick your talking points. Like, oh no, we're giving y'all arguments and we're telling you what side you're on. And there were some where these people didn't even know the anime that they were talking about, and they were like having to Google because they gave them like a few minutes prep time to like look up and get their arguments with their teams and talking points with their teams. So they had a few where people were having to like, I've never watched Ranking of Kings. Let's like look who this fucking character is. um, which was really fun. But
Yeah, it's really fun watching people try to debate stuff they know nothing about because
yeah,
sometimes they get things so wrong that it's so funny that you have to vote for them, and that happened a lot.
shout out to the one guy. I forgot it was something regarding watching something in a different language you don't understand or like low quality. And the opposing team gave an argument or a rebuttal, and then he was able to give his rebuttal, and his rebuttal was just no. So I was like, they had because it was 4 rounds. Like each person got to provide their point, and then first team gets to do a rebuttal, and then the second person gets to do a rebuttal. And yeah, his final rebuttal was just no.
And you won by a
And
landslide.
what?
It was like, "Damn, that was no," like, anyone who tries to do anything like that afterwards, it
Uh
was like,
huh.
it didn't hit the same way.
No, and he got up there twice. I think he was like a fill-in or something, or because they didn't have a team show up or something. Uh, whoever the fuck that guy is, if he's a content creator, and anybody knows who this dude could have possibly, please let me fucking know because he's hilarious, and I would
That that was good.
gladly.
It was good content.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like overall though, the con was great. Like again, lines weren't too bad. Like they for the bigger panels, we had to wait for like an hour ahead of time. Um, I didn't go into like the biggest panel I had was the Rurouni Kenshin and the Bleach one, which happened to be on the same day. Um, Cosplays were insane. I honestly didn't think I would see so many Tokyo Revengers cosplays, but it makes sense since it's like really easy to do. But it was just Tokyo Revengers everywhere, all 4 days, like everywhere
Yeah,
I turned.
there was a lot it was interesting because there was a lot of cosplays you're used to seeing so many of, but
Hmm.
it felt like even though you still saw so many of them, it wasn't as many as you expected to see.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
lot of
I
variety as well.
yeah, like, I thought I'd see a lot more Genshin cosplays, and I thought I'd see a lot more Demon Slayer cosplays. Granted, there was still a lot,
Yeah, oh
but it
yeah.
wasn't as, like, "Oh my god, in my face everywhere I look," as I'm
No.
used to.
I
So,
saw
that was nice.
like 6 Nana cosplayers. I saw several Fruits Basket. I saw
Mhm.
some Shugo Chara, which surprised me because I haven't seen those in like
There was a
almost a
lot of Stugo
decade.
Chara. That was
Yeah.
weird.
There was I saw a Slayers cosplay. Wait, actually bring that up. Vibe check. What have you watched since you've been or read since you've come back from Anime Expo? What past your vibe check?
Um, we talked about the series already kind of today, but,
Mhm.
because I just watched episode 2 today, I'm gonna say, My Happy Marriage. Please check out that anime, for the love of God. Um, quick synopsis, right? Right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So it's essentially about a girl named Mio, I think. And she is from a family who has like these supernatural abilities. Well, her mom passed away when she was very young, and her dad got remarried to an absolute witch of a lady, by the way. Um,
Very Cinderella
and
story.
yeah, kind of like Mary said, she was very, very mistreated. And her and you get to see kind of how they mistreat her and everything, and it's really bad. Like you really feel for her.
Mhm.
And so they send her there's a marriage offer, and they send her off to be the marriage candidate, to be the fiancé of this guy who is known to throw out 3 of his previous fiancés. They com just didn't work out.
Mhm.
So he has, like, this big cold reputation and everything. And so she goes off to essentially marry this man, and she's like, "I'm gonna do everything I can to, make to, live normally." She's like, and she's like, "This is I'm getting out." She's like, "Granted, I'm not going into a great situation," but she's like, "I'm gonna try to make the best of it." And she meets, her husband, and he is very cold, but he doesn't quite know what he's walking into because, Mio is not quite what he expects. And it's a really good story of, um, kind of overcoming, I guess, like, family trauma. But it also has, like, a really interesting, like, supernatural mystery to it. And it's just a really good romance. So, yeah, episode 2 just came out today. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend checking it out.
And Netflix is
It's
actually
been really
like
good.
releasing it weekly and not doing the whole batch thing that they normally do.
Yes, and it's actually been a great adaptation as someone who I have the light novels, but I haven't read the light novels, but I have the manga and I've read the manga. It's been a really good adaptation, and people who have read the light novels are also saying it's a great adaptation as well.
Okay.
So, that's my vibe check, because that's what I watched, before we did this. So,
Mhm. So
oh,
mine is Slayers because I saw the cosplay at the con and I was just like, and then we ran into that one booth that had like all the retro animes and they had it there
yes.
too, which oh my god, we ran into that booth after I had already spent like all my foreseeable money, which I overspent later, but
Oh,
because um yeah, they sold a lot of like out of print, no longer licensed anime DVDs, and I saw Slayers there because I own the first 2 seasons of Slayers, and I've never watched beyond that. So I am currently rewatching the first 2 seasons, and then I'm gonna go ahead and continue it. Slayers is a 1990s anime. Like this is
yeah,
very
it's
pre Toonami, pre Adult Swim, like old school anime. Um, if you can get past the first season, it's great in the dub. You just gotta get past the first season because 90s dubs were not the
of its
best.
time.
Yeah, this is they were still dipping their toes in this one. It's a very like kind of Lord of the Rings esque world where they have like dragons and sorcerers and you have black magic, white magic, swordsmen, uh, golems, stuff like that. And it follows Lena Inverse and her swordsman companion and her ever growing party of friends that join her. And each season kind of has its own like kind of villain that they go through. First season, my favorite character Zelgadis is voiced by a very different person that is he is voiced with for the rest of the series because he's voiced by Crispin Freeman after this point. Lovely voice actor. I love Crispin Freeman so fucking much.
Oh,
Uh,
he's magnificent.
yeah. So him playing Zelgadis makes me happy. The guy who played him before, he tried.
Oh,
He tried. But there's also a lot of like mistranslations within the dub. Like Zelgadis is kind of instrumental in like the main bad guy of the first season, and he's describing his like history with them. And in the dub, he says, "Rezo is both my grandfather and my great grandfather."
oh,
And yeah, that's not accurate. I don't know how they translated that into that because it the actual translation. It's because he doesn't know if it's his grandfather or his great grandfather. It's either or. It's not and. It's either or. And I'm like, you just changed a whole different storyline by insinuating that uh, my favorite character is the product of incest. But okay. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's a great story. It's one of those. It's very um battle shonen without being a battle shonen because it's not even a shonen. Uh, female protagonist, very like through the roof power scale sometimes. Like, but the fight scenes, while they are dated, are still really good. The way they animate the magic, the way they've portrayed everything, and then it's one of those rare shows that's a cult classic without just being super depressing. Like you have characters that have tragic backstories, but not every character in the show has a tragic backstory. It's like one or two of them, yeah, horrible backstory, very sad. It's not their entire character. They have grown from it. They have other character traits than others, just being like, oh, poor baby. And then most of the other cast is just normal backstories that aren't just heart wrenching. So I like that because as much as I love a good tragic backstory, please, we don't have to have a contest of who has the most traumatic past. Uh, so it's a good watch. It's a fun watch, and I'm enjoying going. I'm almost done with the first season. I'll jump into the second season, and then I have like 3 more seasons after that. I think. just have to remember the order they come in after that.
Ooh.
But yeah, so I was really excited when I saw the cosplayer. I'm like, I wish I could have got a picture of her, but she was so far away, and she wasn't even
I
cosplaying as one of the main characters.
Oh, wow.
So,
I think my favorite cosplay I saw was the gravitation cosplayers I saw the
oh my
last
gosh.
day. They they
Oh,
were they were so good.
also, can we talk about the amount of Marins that were at the con? But they were all the same version of Marin. They were all like the lingerie shoot Marin with the like the devil tail. I don't
Oh,
think
I saw quite a few other versions of her.
that was like 90% of the Marins I saw were like all in the same outfit. I'm like, wow, y'all really chose, like, she has so many other outfits, but y'all really chose this one. Okay.
I
Um,
mean, you might as well. There were
nothing.
some people who did it really well, though,
Yeah, I mean,
so
nothing against it. It was well done. It was just like it's bizarre that that's the one that got popular. Um, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But yeah, cosplays were great. Didn't see a lot of like really really big cosplays that I had seen the previous year that I had went.
yeah, I
Uh,
think there was only, like, one that we saw that was
yeah,
very big.
you know,
But other than that
nothing wrong with that again, but it's still just interesting. I don't know if like COVID has a impact on that, or if like people just don't feel like doing that at AX anymore, because it again, like, as it's not as packed as it everyone makes it seem. It's still kind of packed, and walking around in like giant angel wings, not the best idea.
yeah, if you go in big cosplays, yeah, it will get very packed very quickly, but
Yeah,
there wasn't very many, like, super big
yeah.
inconvenient cosplays, which made navigating pretty easily, and,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of really fun to, like, zoop by people when you were going when both of us were, like, kinda solo,
Uh-huh.
because I think, like, everyone just navigates faster when they're solo, and just like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
"No."
Speaking of navigating, Shio doesn't navigate LA very well.
No, no, I don't. Um,
So let's talk about our Airbnb in the middle of Skid Row.
so we were checking so after the con pretty much after my panel, we met up and we went back to the hotel room to, move to the Airbnb that we were staying at, which we checked out ahead of time, so we knew it wasn't gonna be, like, super sketch or anything.
Mhm.
Um, but the address I put in, which was the address, there's a very similar address that was in the middle of Skid Row, and that's the address it took us to. And so our Uber driver picked us up, took us there, no questions asked. And we were both you wanna take it from here? I think you tell us
Yeah.
better.
So I'm in this Uber, and I'm like, I start noticing all the shutters, and I'm like, there's no businesses open. Everything's shuttered. Everything's graffitied. I'm seeing a lot of tents, which you already see a decent amount of tents in LA, but I'm seeing a lot of tents and a lot of foot traffic, and I'm like, all right. Pulls up Google Maps, sees Skid Row like 2 inches away from our little dot, shows Shio, and she just like nods, and I'm like, okay. So we get dropped off at this little corner, and this Uber driver was so on it on yanking out our luggage and dropping these two little white girls in the middle of Skid Row and speeding the fuck off that he didn't even question it. Like, he was just like, this is the address, and we're like, oh, okay. And then like, yeah, he just yeets us out on the curb. So Shio's over here texting the Airbnb person and trying to figure out what's going on, taking pictures and stuff. Meanwhile, we're standing by this fucking gate that's chained up with a giant ass puddle of pee in it. And I'm like, I'm trying not to smell through my mouth, because that sounds like a worse idea than smelling through my nose, but I also don't want to smell through my nose. And there's just people walking past us and giving us looks, and we've debated on walking one way or the other to see if there's another way in. And I'm just like, my brain's just like, if it's even here, we're leaving regardless. There's no checking in now. Um, so figures out we're in the wrong location,
Yep.
thankfully. And I call a lift,
And
and
as we're waiting here, we're at least I am increasingly trying not to panic.
then a firework went off, and then she proceeded to panic. You
Sorry
like
for
screamed and jumped like hid behind me, and she's like, "How close is the lift?" And I'm like, "It's 7 minutes." And she's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's fine." And I'm just chilling here. I'm like, "No, I mean, we're not gonna show panic." And like, we had somebody that came up and asked us like what we were doing. We're like, "Oh, we're in the wrong spot. We're just calling our other lift." And I'm just like, just play it cool, play it chill. We're good. We're gonna get out of here. If we saw like 5 cop cars pass by, they saw us here. If we go missing, they know where we're at.
Yeah,
And
I think I did a except for the one firework, I think I did an okay job of hiding just how freaking out I was, 'cause I was, like, screaming and freaking out in my brain.
yeah,
Now it was I was just, like, trying to stay calm because freaking out in person is not gonna help the situation.
no, no.
So so I think I did a pretty good job at not just, like, absolutely flipping shit.
I mean, we already like very much stand out because we have, like, you have like 5 bags. I have two. I'm holding one of yours, and
Yeah, thank
we
you.
just have this big ass luggage. And again, we're two like obviously not homeless white girls, uh, decently dressed, standing in the middle of Skid Row next to a giant pea puddle. Uh, like when you touch the gate to go open it, I was like, bruh, even if that gate would open, I am not dragging my suitcase through that fucking puddle. My internal dialogue is just like, we're getting the fuck out of here. And my biggest concern was like, is Lyft not gonna pick us up because like locals know where the fuck this is? Are they actually gonna pick us up in the middle of this? Like, is this gonna happen? Thankfully they did, and
They did, thank God.
we got to our actual Airbnb location, which honestly probably still would have seemed really sketch, but considering where we were 5 minutes prior, not that big of a deal. Inside was fine, aside from the odd AC unit situation they had going on.
The weird AC unit and the creaky elevator.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um.
but
So
I think, at that point, we were both, like, so, like, "Oh my god," that we were
yeah.
just like, "Okay, we're tired."
Yeah, we were both on the like, just order pizza. We're not leaving today, right? We're not doing that. We're just
After
gonna
that, we're just gonna hang out.
yeah. So
Happy
we
4th of July.
yeah. The 4th of July, where we heard a total of like 8 fireworks total within like actually being in the 9 if you count the one from when we were in Skid Row. Like, I've
At
heard more
that one.
fireworks since being home than I did the entire time being in LA during 4th of July, which is insane.
I haven't heard any. Actually, no, I've heard, like, 1 or 2, since coming back, but
Yeah.
other than that, like, I heard yeah, but it was weird. I think we we fell asleep both also, like, super early too.
Oh yeah. I mean, we also during the con, I feel like both of us just didn't sleep a lot. We were just like, we went to bed earlier than we probably would have, mostly because time difference things. But like, we were
Yeah.
up decently early almost every
Y
day.
yeah, we were both, like, up and, like, we're like, "We are awake whether we like it or not,"
Yeah.
kinda deal.
Yeah.
So
So the next day we ventured out and like saw Little Tokyo a little bit. So again, we woke up super fucking early even before Little Tokyo opened. So
yeah, we were just we it was so funny because we both just kinda did our own little things,
mhm.
and it wasn't until both of us started kinda walking around that we're like, "Good morning."
Yeah. That was pretty much the entire like weekend of us like we just like both lay in bed on our phones until we're like sociable. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Um
Uh,
but yeah, we went to the Little Tokyo. We
yeah, that's
that's where I spent money that I shouldn't have spent.
uh, yeah, that's when, Cyan found all the stuff that she wanted to buy, but I also, found, a big treasure trove too.
Yeah.
Um, but I also, that's when I burned the roof of my mouth. And while it hasn't actually been too bad talking here,
Mhm.
most of the time when I talk, it actually hurts a lot, but I've been fine this last, like, 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
surprisingly. I think it's because I took ibuprofen, like, 30 minutes before we did this. Um,
Fair.
but normally, I am in so much pain that I cannot even talk. So,
Yeah, Shio decided
uh,
when we went to eat that she wanted to shove a ball in her mouth super fast and it burned her mouth, so.
it you don't have to put it like that, but, yeah, I had takoyaki at the con, and I was able to eat it just fine, and so I was like, "Okay, full balls to the walls," and I burned the roof of my mouth.
Like they
And,
literally they put it on our table and then she immediately just grabbed it and shoved it in her mouth and I was just like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like a good idea." And then like I
I
look
was
at
a
her face and I'm like, "That's definitely wasn't a good idea."
no, and like, it hurts, like, I've been in so much pain since then. Um, I suffered because I wanted to eat certain foods when I was
Mhm.
still there. I, like, suffered through,
Yeah.
eating them, and now I'm in just, like, full recovery mode. Like, I refuse to eat anything carbonated. I refuse. Like, I am just sitting here, like, wreathing in pain.
Fair.
I mean, I'm fine right now. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about me right now, but,
The shopping experience in Little Tokyo was fun though because they have a lot of little shops that sell a lot of niche stuff, like very
yes.
like a lot of the stuff I could probably find here in Houston, but there were some shops that's like, okay, this is very much like not something I would normally see. Which is why I spent a lot of money because most of my stuff was like, it's so hard to find Digimon merch, and then I found
Yep.
Digimon merch and I just like went ham.
Yeah, you did, and I was like, "Oh, it's Cyan's turn."
Yep. Because the only Digimon stuff that was at Anime Expo was the two figures I already own. And then another figure that's like $80, and I'm not gonna spend $80 while out of town for a figure when I can buy it online for probably cheaper. So
Yeah.
it's like it's not that big of a deal. But I found a couple blind boxes. I found some like cards and stuff for collectibles. You know, I was rolling. I was happy with that. Found some stuff for my coworker as well, which she really enjoyed. So
Oh, I'm glad.
yeah. Most of my stuff was really, really small. Shio went ham on the folder section of one of the shops, and
Yeah, we went to Book Off, and Book Off is the greatest place for, like, niche anime merch.
hmm
And they had a bunch of clear files, and they had a ton of Idler 7 clear files and Uta Pre ones. And it was so funny. Someone walked up, like, everything here is either idols or old. And I'm like, idols and old, sign me up. I'm here.
I heard the same thing, and I was like, oh, what constitutes as old? And I'm going through, and I'm like, this isn't what I consider old. And then you pointed out that they're folders, and I thought they were prints, and I was like, oh, never mind, I don't want folders anyway.
Yeah. I like clear files.
Yeah,
I have like a way to store them and sort them, and I like looking at them.
yeah.
So,
I was like, I think most of what I got were like keychains and buttons and stuff, and it was just insane the amount of just full anime shops that they had. And then I like a lot of the little smaller shops that just sell a lot of Japanese or Asian cultural stuff as well. Um,
yes.
those were really fun to like look into, and so many gotcha shops. Oh my god!
I was surprised at all the gotcha. I was like, "Holy crap." And
Yeah,
I was a little sad because I would have loved to do some of the gotcha, but all the gotcha was, like, stuff I didn't want, like, franchises. I was like, "I don't
yeah.
want merch from this franchise.
Like the
I'm
only
sorry, I'm so
franchises they
picky."
had was like they had Tokyo Revengers stuff, but my character was almost never in there. And then two, they were all the big-headed little chibi form things, and I'm like, can we not do that? I don't like that.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but I got burned on a Tokyo Revengers blind box, and I haven't bought Tokyo Revengers merch since.
uh,
So and I still refuse to. I am traumatized from that.
my addiction to blind boxes is almost made
Insane.
one of those shops very dangerous because I still have this entire box of blind boxes to open one day. I'll
Part
I'll set a follower goal or something for it one day. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it when I hit this goal.
Hell yeah. I kinda regret not buying another one of the Bleach blind bags. I should have bought 2.
I love
I I'm
some.
I'm I I I'm just kicking myself, over not buying more of those, but
It was just funny because like you got the Bleach one and I got the Digimon one, and we both opened them and we're both disappointed. And we're like, well, never mind. Luckily, I had a
yeah,
second blind box I could open the Digimon. That was a different thing that I got
yeah,
excited about. But
I get so much other stuff that I was like, it is what it is." But it was just funny that mine was, like, the special exclusive one that's, like, hard to get, the rare one, but it was not a character I love. So
uh-huh.
I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, he's still on my purse, so
Yeah. Mine didn't have any special exclusives, but it was just like of the 8 starter Digimon from Adventures, it's literally the one I can't stand. I'm like, well, fuck. I'm just gonna take her off because the keychain comes with Biomon on it, and then it also has a little plastic tag that just says Digimon with the heart crest on it. I'm just gonna take Biomon off of it and just keep the Digimon tag as the keychain. Like, I don't really want the crest of love on there either, but it's better than having Biomon. I hate her so much. Man,
Oh,
it
but
was a fun find.
it was a good find. We had some good food.
Mhm.
Um, the stuff we found was really cool.
Mhm.
What else
Tried
did we
some Naruto
check?
potato chips.
Oh yeah.
The egg
Oh, and I got
flavored.
I got socks. I got socks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I was just sitting there, and I'm like, "I'm looking for socks." And she was just like, "Okay."
Whatever floats your boat. I mean, guys do it all the time. It's fine.
Yeah, I like this, like, I like the tabby socks a lot,
Mhm.
but I didn't want, like, the formal ones. I just wanted fun tabby socks, and I know I could have gotten them somewhere in Little Tokyo, so I'm like, "I'm looking for these socks," and when I finally found them, I was like, "No," 'cause, all of the ones I have, I've worn so much, they all have a lot of holes in them, and I refuse to throw them away until I have ones to replace them, so,
Right.
yeah.
Well, now you
So
have some to
now
replace them.
yes.
Yeah, no. It was fun. It was a nice shopping experience. I would love to go back with like more money and do the Shio thing and ship things back. But
Yeah, I shipped, a lot of stuff back. It was like a grand of stuff.
mhm.
And funny enough, I was panicking over that, like, that tracking number
Yeah.
because it wasn't coming up, and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, it hasn't updated. Oh my god, my stuff. I That's a lot of money I spent on my stuff."
Mhm.
Turns out, I was tracking it on the USPS website when I shipped it UPS,
Big
and
brain.
I felt like such an idiot. Then I was like, "Oh, okay, it updated. I'll get an update this day," and now I have it all, and it's like,
Oh my
"Great."
god.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. It was a final day, or at least final day for me being out there. We went to the last bookstore, which was an experience as well, where you bought more
Yeah,
stuff.
I did, and I'm kicking myself because, I didn't buy volume 12 because I thought I had it, and I bought volume 13, but volume 13 was the one that I had, and I didn't have 12.
Brilliant.
I was kicking myself because I shipped back the manga I got
Hmm.
before I notated what I got,
Yeah.
so I was just kinda guessing,
Hmm.
and I guessed very wrong.
Oh my
So
god.
I bought 2 duplicates, and I was not happy,
Yeah.
with myself, but,
It was convenient that
yeah.
our the last bookstore was just like around the corner from where we were staying too. So
Yeah, and we
that
had
was
some
kind of
good
nice.
food that day too,
Yeah, we went
so
to the Grand Central Market, so
mhm.
we got to kind of get what we wanted each, and not have to get this same. Even though you technically got like Mexican food, and I got Salvadorian food, which are similar in ways, but also different. So
Yeah, the menus were very, very different,
yeah,
uh,
so we got
but the
probably
thing
the
I mm,
best meal I had in LA, and it's still not the best Salvadorian food I've ever had. It's not even like
mm.
we.
So,
It's a
the
little
best
sad.
meal I had was the meal I had after you were gone.
Where you fucking destroyed your shirt, apparently.
Yeah, so, after Cyan left, I ordered, some really splurged on it. I bought some, like, Korean food. Because there's not good Korean food where I live. Any place I've lived actually has never had good Korean food.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, "Okay, I want some good Korean food." So I ordered good Korean food, and, I devoured it, and it was so good. Granted, this entire time, I'm also in so much pain eating it, suffering through it because I really, really, really wanted to eat it, and, like,
Hmm.
this was one of the things I wanted to do really badly. So I was, like, suffering through it. Um all the spiciness on the burn wound. And, yeah, I got over my brand new shirt, and I, like, soaked my shirt. I soaked it, and then I put it through the washing machine that Airbnb had, and it still stained.
Damn.
I was like, "Wow." I also got on the tank top too, but the tank top's supposed to be covered most of the time, so I wasn't too worried about that. But
Hmm.
the nice shirt that I got is completely ruined, and that was, like, the more expensive shirt I got too, of the new
Damn.
stuff I was wearing. So, but, it was really good. Um I
Yeah.
definitely also was sitting there wishing, like, "Damn, I definitely should have bought this was when Cyan was here because this is way more food than I can eat."
Nice. I
So
it's I don't know. LA food's always just weird to me. I'm like, uh, the ramen wasn't bad. They overcooked the egg a little bit, and I was a little sad about that. I'm used to my
Yeah,
egg
I would have.
being a little runny on the inside. I'm like,
Yeah, I like it a little bit like just barely poached.
yeah, because then it mixes in well with the broth and it tastes good. So
Yep, that's like the fun part of it.
yeah,
Uh,
but it's okay. It's it's about what I expect from LA, so I wasn't too like butthurt over it because this is now my third trip to LA, and I have yet to have a meal where I'm just like, oh, this is actually good. So
yeah. No,
it's
I think
this
I
is
liked all the food I had. Um, just because I think where I currently live, like every restaurant here sucks so
yeah.
bad. Um, there's no good food in St. Louis, guys. If you go to St. Louis for the food, you're not here for the food. You were here to see a McDonald's arch. That's what you're here to see.
Oh my
Um,
god.
there is no good food here. Um,
Houston,
yeah,
on the
that
other hand, the first thing I did when I came back to Houston was I got some tamales and tacos from the local truck, and I was like, okay, now I can gorge myself.
yeah. I went home and I I slept. But the day, essentially, I just watched like YouTube the day after Cyan left. Watched some anime, watched a lot of sad YouTube. Um, and that was,
Ruining the
and then I.
algorithm for their smart TV.
Oh yes, yes, very much so. And I did remember to log out of everything, so
Okay,
we're good.
well,
That was like because I was taking my time leaving. I had everything packed up. I was like taking my time. I was like cleaning a little bit because I value my 5-star rating on Airbnb. Not that it would have gone down, but I made a mess with the Korean food, so I was cleaning it up.
fair.
Um, and yeah, I got to keep my 5-star rating.
That's
Woo.
good.
So
Also, I will say though, I feel like every time I get an Airbnb, I'm always just like, I would rather be at a hotel, and it was kind of like that as well. I was like, because it wasn't hot in the hotel in the Airbnb,
mhm.
but it was just like it's not my comfort level. And it was since it was
Yeah,
warmer
it wasn't cold
inside.
like it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was warmer inside the Airbnb than it was outside, which is so fucking backwards.
Yeah, but it was pretty nice weather for LA,
Yeah,
apparently.
that's apparently I just happen to always go to LA when it's the really nice weather, and they just never they only have the really hot temperatures when I'm not there. So
Yeah, I was expecting to be dying of heat wave and, to find out that where I lived, it was hotter.
yeah.
I was
Uh,
like, "Wow, this is nice.
There's
I'm
there's
enjoying this."
there's no humidity. It's not gonna be that bad. Like if you stand in direct sunlight for like an hour, you're gonna feel it. Because when we were waiting in that line on that first day, which is by far the
Yeah.
worst line of the entire con, is the first day. Because morons don't know how to fucking read when you order your badge online and it gives you an entire booklet that says activate your badge before you get to the con, and the badge itself has a sticker on it with a QR code that says activate this badge before you go to the con by going to this website or scanning the QR code. So many people in that line did not activate their badge, which was what was holding up that first day line so much.
That
Yeah.
that makes sense because, yeah, we were waiting in that line for it felt like a deadline like, every other line I had to sit in to get in when we were early
Mm-hmm.
moved pretty quickly except for the autograph line.
Yeah.
Um, but that first day line, like, rarely moved, and we activated I remember we were both sitting next to each other
Yeah.
activating our
We
patches.
did it at the same time, and it was just like it's literally a sticker on there. The fact that most of the people didn't even remove the sticker off their badge either, because I think they thought the QR code was what needed to be scanned because they didn't read it. Ugh, that's so frustrating. Why people got to be fucking stupid? Just read. It's literally right there.
Yeah, and, they don't give you that text for no reason, they give it
No.
to you so you can
It's
read it so
also
that there's no
there
problems.
were two signs during the line that tell you to activate the badge as well. I
Oh, I
remember
didn't even see
passing.
those
I
badges. I
saw
didn't
them, and I was just like, because I was looking at the lines to make sure there wasn't like a divide between. Because the previous year I went, there was a divide between the bag check line and the normal line, and I was reading the signs to make sure that wasn't the case. What happens if the sticker is removed and you don't have it anymore? You don't need the sticker.
Yeah, the sticker is just, like, instructions, and you're given, like, a pamphlet when you get your badge with the instructions, and
Yeah.
they're literally tweeted about it multiple times too.
Yeah. It's just there for the website to activate the badge, and then after that you don't need it because there's a chip inside the badge that is scanned. That you just have to activate the chip with the website. That's all it is. Um, and you have to scan it in and scan it out every time you go in and out. So they make sure nobody's like sharing their badges or something. So kind of
Yeah,
nice. I think more cons
and
should do
people
something
still
like
did
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
I
were
think
definitely still doing that.
it was a really fun, novelty, I'd say,
Yeah.
was scanning it in, scanning it out, which I think it's great because they have, like, a really good accurate count of who's there,
Mhm.
which I really appreciate because when I remember when running cons, that was always our problem is it was so hard to get an accurate count because we human error.
Yeah.
There was so much human error, and where this kind of because they literally will not let you in unless you scan the badge,
Yep.
kind of very much eliminated that human error.
Yeah, and if you don't scan out as well, it causes a problem when you try and scan in the next time. So
Mhm.
it's oh, did you see the rumor that was going around as well where they're like, oh, the first day they only had one entrance open?
No, they didn't because we went through the second entrance.
Yeah, we went through the second entrance and we saw the lines for both other entrances. Like
Yep.
we could literally see the one across the street from where we were at. And when we
Yeah, there
first got there, we saw the end of one line and we were at the beginning of the other line and we decided to walk all the way around to the end of that other line thinking it
we literally went to the longer line too. We
uh-huh.
coulda went to the shorter line, we went into the longer line.
Yeah. But like even though the line was long, it wasn't that bad cuz they snaked it around a lot where it was in the shade as well. So
Mhm.
it was only if it's happened to stop where you're standing in the sun, it sucked for that few minutes. But as soon as you're in the shade, no big deal, super
Yeah.
chill. So we had a couple moments like, okay, it's getting a little hot, and then we'd get to the shade, like, okay, it's fine now. I'm actually kind of cold. I need to stop.
Oh, you know what story we forgot to tell?
What?
How we were almost on TV.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Um,
um, yeah.
uh,
So there
so,
was a strike going on while we
yes.
were in LA. For the housekeeping, which didn't really affect us until the day we were almost on TV for it.
Yeah, which even then, it barely affected us.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we didn't get fresh towels for one day. Sad.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, no. So we
Um,
were walking back to the shuttles to go back to our hotel room. And then we'd seen the protests like throughout the couple days of them standing outside with their drums and their buckets and their signs and stuff. And
I don't think
uh,
there wasn't anyone who hadn't seen it unless they just weren't taking shuttles or anything.
yeah. Um, so this reporter comes up to us and it's just like, can we talk to you for a minute? And she, like, I forget how she was very obviously trying to get a story out of us to see if like we were being affected
Yeah.
by the protests and like what our thoughts were and what we knew. I'm like, we're just like,
Yeah.
we don't know. We
Yeah,
just
but when she walked up to us, she was like, "Hey, would you guys mind being interviewed for a news story?" And both of us were like, "Oh, well, it kind of depends on what it's about."
mm-hmm.
So like what is it regarding? And because we both kind of assumed it was going to be about Anime Expo. We're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, well, I mean, if it's about Anime Expo, yeah, we'll talk about how great the convention is
Oh
and how much fun
yeah.
we're having."
Imagine the
Um
clout we could have got off of that one.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? I was kinda like, "Ooh, okay." And they're like, "Yeah, we wanna know, like, your thoughts about, like, the protests that are going on, like, how it's inconveniencing you, at the con, and, um, and how it's affecting you, and how they're very, like, in your way and everything." And they very much painted it that they really wanted us to talk negative about it.
Yeah.
When we, A, weren't really affected by it, they were being really respectful of people who weren't involved, like,
Mm-hmm.
extremely respectful. They weren't interacting with people who weren't involved, they
No.
weren't harassing people, they were sticking to themselves, they had their own little organizations, they were very much focused on being well organized. They were loud, but
Mm-hmm.
that's striking. So,
Yeah.
like, it's not a big deal, it didn't really affect anyone.
Right.
Um, and so we were not gonna give them that story, like,
No.
'cause
We,
at first we were she was, like, trying to kinda convince us to give her that, and we were like,
yeah.
"No, no, no." It took us convincing her.
Oh, you cut out.
We're like, "No, we are not going on here. We're not doing this."
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we very much were, telling her, like, "No, we do not wanna be on here to
Yeah.
talk bad about this. Like, we this is our what we've been going through, and it's not the story you want." Um, and I don't we I don't think I felt I don't I'm pretty sure we both were on the same page, when neither of us felt comfortable talking about something that kinda had political ties on the news.
Yeah, I mean, also, we don't know the full story because I know the gist of what it was all about because I had looked into it beforehand. Because they were talking about it in some of the forums I was in for Anime Expo, and I was like, okay. But from what I understood, the hotel we were at was one of the few was one of the few companies that was okay with the union or not okay with the union, whichever one it is. I don't remember which one's the. I think they want the
I think they were
union.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
we like I said, we didn't have much trouble, so I think that they were ones that in support of it.
yeah. And it wasn't until like the last day, that day that happened, we came back to the room and it was the first day we didn't have housekeeping, which I don't know if it had anything to do with the protest or if it was just like they
Because it's the
had to.
last day.
Yeah. So, no idea on that one. Didn't really matter that much. It was like and most con goers don't want housekeeping anyway cuz for some reason people are scared of having people in their room and cleaning. uh I personally like having fresh towels and not having to go get them every night. I like to have an actual bath at a con, uh, and not being a smelly weeb. But yeah.
Yeah. I did have one casualty leave me, though.
Oh,
I lost one of my volumes of One Piece.
how?
I don't know. I went left with with 4 volumes, and I came back with 3 volumes. I've looked through all of my bags. I checked the hotel we both checked the hotel room very thoroughly. I checked the
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb super thoroughly too,
Yeah.
and because I didn't get my One Piece volumes out when we were at the Airbnb at all.
Right.
I only had them out at the sorry, at the hotel because I was moving around stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I didn't tell you this part because we haven't talked much since I got back. Um,
mhm.
so my Lyft ride
Oh,
to the airport. Uh, like the guy that was my Lyft driver or whatever. He was asking me like why I was in town and like where I'm from and stuff like the stereotypical like Lyft Uber driver banter that I wish they wouldn't do. Just don't talk to me, please. Just drop me off where I need to go. But I told him like, yeah, I was here for Anime Expo, and he's like, oh, you like anime? Yeah, I was seeing it. I kind of wanted to go, but I'm not big enough into it. And he just started talking about One Piece and One Piece theories, and I'm like, oh.
thank God I wasn't there.
I was just like, okay. Like he watches a lot of YouTube on like One Piece theories and like conspiracies and speculations, and he was going through all of them that he thought was really cool, and I'm just like, oh man, no. You're one of those. You're gonna say you're not even a big anime fan, and you're in the that kind of dive hole of I'm gonna name drop YouTubers who do power scaling videos and
I could probably even think of who they were talking about because I know a lot of, like, One Piece creators that are like that,
I know a
talking
lot
about
of
that
them
stuff.
too, but it was nobody I had recognized. I think most of the ones he was naming were like Hispanic YouTubers because
Mhm.
a lot of the names did sound very uh, Latino named. So they might be Spanish speaking only because
Uh,
his English was good, but his accent was very thick. So
okay. Yeah, and there is a huge community in just Spanish
oh
speaking
my
anime
god,
on YouTube. Oh my
Uh,
god. I think it's
his
bigger than the English speaking YouTube community.
okay, no, it's just the Hispanic side of the anime community just loves straight up shonens because it's DBZ, Naruto, One Piece. They fucking eat that shit up.
Oh, oh, no. They love Shoujo too, girl. They love Shoujo.
Really?
It literally most like, I'll be so into, like, a Shoujo, and it will
Mhm.
be, like, all of these videos and this content that I can't understand,
Oh my
and I'm like,
god.
"I wanna watch all these, I have no idea what's going on." And it's so frustrating. I'm like, "Oh, I really wanna watch this." Oh, but I don't understand a word of it, and there's no, like, English subtitles or anything, so it's just like, "Oh, well, it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I support you guys, and I hope you guys continue making content. Please do it.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Eh,
someone is."
it was just wild. I was like, man, I love One Piece, but like, cause I'm dedicated to it. I'm not one to like I like to theorize a little bit. I'm not gonna sit here and watch an hour-long theory video of why his his devil fruit power allows him to stretch his bones and everything else, or if it just stretches his skin or something. Like these are the kinds of things he was like theorizing. Like, does it turn his entire body, or is it just like his fleshy parts and those bones stay the same? And I'm like, I it's anime, bro. I don't care. Yeah,
Yeah, don't take it too literally.
like we're not
Like it's
trying to break the fourth wall on this. It's just anime, bro.
which I mean, those conversations are very fun to have when
Mm-hmm.
you're also very interested in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I I talk a lot at people very similarly sometimes
Uh
at where
huh.
I work. So I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, it's like I get where it's also obnoxious because I had those and I'm like I make sure that I'm like, "I'm not boring you, am I? If you don't wanna talk about this again, then no, you're good, keep talking, it's very fun." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." But, people keep
Yeah.
talking and they're like, "No." And you're like, "Okay."
It's just
Uh,
it was a weird way to end off my trip in LA because I was like, all right, and then like the guy sitting next to me on the flight back. Thankfully, again, I got stuck in the last fucking seat row, so I didn't get a fucking window. So like landing is weird because if I can't see where we hit the ground, it's a little jarring for me.
mhm.
Um, but I watched the newest Scream movie, and I kept having to pause the movie because I'm right next to the restrooms, and anytime somebody brought their small child to go to the restroom, I'm like, I'm gonna pause this because we're in a chase scene, and I don't want somebody's small child to see like somebody getting gutted alive on a flight. And my seatmate would kept asking like, why do you keep pausing it? I was like, I'm just trying not to be that person. That's all. I don't like children, but like, I'm not here to traumatize them either. I also don't want
It's a
somebody's mom yelling at me for some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, no, I just my first flight, I don't even oh, the first flight so my first flight was, like, half empty.
Mm-hmm.
There was hardly anyone on that flight, like, almost every single person could have gotten a window seat if they wanted one. That's how
Nice.
not full that flight was. It wasn't until my layover flight that it was absolutely packed. I could have taken the opportunity to get bumped and then got, like, a really nice voucher.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought about that, but I was so tired that I'm like, I wanna go home." Like,
Fair.
like, do I want $500 or do I want to go home? And I'm like, "I want to go home. I want to go
Yeah.
home right now. I wanna go home so I can go to bed." 'Cause, trust me, when I went home, I talked to my mom for, like, an hour, and then I went to bed, and I slept for, like, 15 hours.
Fair.
Um, but, the and then it was just like I said, all Swifties. Just, and the worst part is normally, like, Taylor Swift fans are, like, really nice and whatnot. These were not really nice, friendly Swifties.
I've
I
never
think
met
it's
a
just
Taylor Swift fan, so I don't know.
I've met a lot, and a lot of them are usually pretty nice. These ones were not as nice, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because people in Missouri are just not very nice typically. If you're from Missouri, I'm sorry. I live here too, and I just a lot of people who are from Missouri just aren't very nice.
Fair. I
So,
feel like where I live, because I guess there are Taylor Swift fans in Texas, but I feel like a lot of people were really upset when she stopped doing country music here. So most of the Taylor Swift fans I know liked her like first couple albums, and then when she got more poppy, they don't like her as much. Um,
I was the reverse. Like I hated her in her country era, and then she came to a pop era. I'm like, I kind of like her now, and now I don't care.
I only know like two songs from her, I think, but it's just like most of the people that I hear talk about her, um, it's generally a comment about like, oh yeah, she used to be country. I'm like, I mean, we have a lot of country artists that used to be something else too, so that happens. But I think that just comes from being a very cowboy state. They like their country
Yeah.
music here. They like their
Oh
two
yeah.
stephen.
Yeah.
Even though she's been to the rodeo, I believe. I think she was a music act for the rodeo a couple of years. Uh,
I believe it. I think she's got still followings everywhere because like her tour sold out
oh,
immediately
for
everywhere.
sure.
So
She definitely sells out here as well. I never run into those people. I guess
yeah,
different groups of people.
yeah.
Um,
It was so funny on my layover at airport. All the air like people, all the like airport staff who had to like stay the night in Kansas City, they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, good luck. It's the Taylor Swift concert and all the hotels are booked.
Oh my
All of
god.
them. So, I felt bad for them. I was like, "Oh, that sucks." And then, like, everyone on my flight was a Swiftie.
Yeah.
Like, everyone. I was just like, "Okay." And then there's, like, me with my little, like, weeb skateboard just being like, "Okay, I
Mhm.
just wanna go home because I've been up all night. I look like I've been up all night, and I'm like, I feel deranged, I just wanna go home."
Fair.
So anyone who ran into me, even though they didn't know it was me, I feel sorry for you, I'm sorry. I was very tired, and I wanted to go home.
Valid. So any final thoughts on Anime Expo? Any final things you want to say to people wanting to attend or did attend?
I think you should go once, and do what you want to do. Have fun with it. Um, meet the people you wanna meet. Um, just know that you're not gonna be able to do everything you wanna do, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You gotta kinda learn to accept that, and sometimes you might not be able to get into what you wanna do. But you have when you go to these kind of events, you gotta take that as a grain of salt. It's definitely really cool to do once.
Hmm.
Because of how much their trip costs, I probably won't do it again because ASIN's just cheaper for me because I can drive there.
Right.
And then I have a car. Um, but I think it's really cool. I'm really glad I had the opportunity to go. Really glad I had the opportunity to meet Cyan.
Hmm.
Um, I bought a lot of shit, so I will probably be doing a stream where I kind of I posted pictures on Twitter, but I'll probably go on stream and talk about like where I made these purchases or like why I did or what my thought was and like why I got what I got because I love talking about that shit. Um, ooh, and it's thunderstorming outside. Anyways, but that is it. It was a lot of fun, and I thank you, Cyan, for going with me.
Oh, of course. That's a great opportunity. Like I agree. Like it's definitely something any big anime fan should experience at least once. I say don't read too much into the stuff you hear about afterwards because every con, no matter what con it is, there's always going to be that mentality of people complaining about the smallest little things and making it sound worse than it is, or like they don't actually know what's going on and they make it sound like, oh yeah, this happened when it didn't actually happen. They think it happened or they were told. Like
Rumors spread fast.
yeah, it's really stupid and it's not worth like paying mind to it. Um, just you know don't think of it as those pictures you see where it's super crowded in that main lobby because it's not like that. Don't think of it about the lines. Like yeah, the lines. You if you want to go to a really popular panel, you're probably gonna be waiting an hour for a line.
2 hours in some cases.
Yeah, that's that's just the fact of how it goes. Um, but if you don't want to attend like the super big ones, if you want to go to like little fan panels or even some like little indie stuff, you'll have no problem getting in. Like
Yeah.
it's I had no problem getting into the Aniplex panel, and that's a pretty big company. Like there is plenty of space in there when I got in. So and then of course I did a lot of the smaller panels that were a lot of fun as well. So there's always stuff to do. I would say don't get your hopes up on like one really big thing you want to do if you
Yeah.
don't think you can feasibly do it. um, because if you want to get into like you're only going to this con for this one panel, and there's no other panels that interest you, try and find some other stuff that's gonna interest you because if you can't get into that one panel, your day's just gonna be ruined.
Yeah. You definitely want to go in there with a flexibility
Yeah.
in mind. So,
And also, the misconception that you have to cosplay to go to Anime Expo. Please stop listening to that because I keep hearing that. It's so stupid.
no, you don't. I did not cosplay once. I wore normie clothes the entire freaking time.
Yeah, same. I was dressed normally. The only thing that was like not normie about me was the mask I had in my hair, and that's just so people could easily find me.
You wore a Hago stuff. That's not very normie.
I'll wear that to the grocery store.
But, like, I was, like, full normie, like, I look like a mom you would run into at the grocery store with, like, kids, is what I
I
look
just think
like.
the difference is what we would individually wear normally is like that's how you normally dress. What I wear
True.
is how I normally dress. It's just I don't wear this stuff to work, obviously, but if I'm going out
Oh,
with
yeah.
friends or if I'm going out to dinner or something, that's I will wear stuff like what I wore to the con. So,
Yeah.
uh, it's you don't have to dress up. You don't even have to wear anime stuff. You can just wear normal clothes. It's
Yep.
fine. You can acquire
Just
anime stuff there. Like
do
my
whatever makes you comfortable.
yeah, like my lovely maid dress shirt I got.
Yes.
But yeah. You want to take us off?
Yeah. So, you can follow us at Riceball. I'm sorry, RiceCon Pod. I'm sorry, RiceCon Podcast. I'm sorry. We literally tried naming it so many different things before Twitter let us name it that we keep screwing it up.
Right.
You can follow us on Twitter at RiceCon Podcast. You
Mm-hmm.
can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and we're on one of the podcasting
Google.
sites, right?
Google
Google
Podcast.
Podcasts. Yeah, so you can definitely check it us there. We have our personal channels. My Twitter handle is Lady Shio. You can find me on Twitch as Shurins. And I'm Shuri Sudamiya on YouTube, with zero YouTube content, so beware of that. And then Cyan, where can they find you?
I am Cyan Aniki on Twitter, Cyan Aniki if you want to watch my VODs on YouTube, and Cyan Kincaid on Twitch, which we are doing this live, our first live, actually, which I don't think we mentioned that yet.
Yo, we did it. No, we recorded this live on Cyan's channel.
Yeah,
Because we really wanted to get our our AX thoughts out there so we could talk about it, not
yeah.
on the podcast.
Because
That's
we
all.
figured like some people might want to get it now instead of in a week. So, you know,
Yeah.
we might
Then we can
if
kind of talk about. Oh,
yeah. And if there's like if the people that did stop in and watch this live, if y'all want to see more stuff like this, just let us know. We might make more goals to do something like this for special episodes in the future.
yeah, and it's a lot of fun, and we definitely like seeing people in real time talk up
Mhm.
at the same time.
Yeah, even though we can't really like. I know I read chat once, but it was just because it was really relevant. But we can't really respond to chat as actively.
Yeah, everyone who's saying hi, it's like we also want to say hi, but if we say hi, it kind of ruined the flow of the conversation. So
Yeah, so maybe we'll do some bonus stuff at some point or something. We'll make
yeah,
some goals for that. But yeah, that's it for our Anime Expo. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode.
yes, we will. I love you.
Bye. You got cut out halfway through that bye. And you did it again.
Bye.
Oh my god.